So, it's been a long journey with Hale and the crew of the Selene, with, of course, Andre Serrano, our guest from another world. But tonight, is the grand finale is upon us. We have lots to do. The first thing we're going to do, of course, is kick things off with our recap, graciously supplied by Christian. So, here we go.
John, I don't do this, ever. Like, actually never. But I figured this would be my last chance to write something down before... Yeah, whatever's gonna happen might be the end. But if I could travel to a different world and be found by Duke Grimm, I figure you could find this note by some chance. So I asked Jackdaw to borrow parchment and a pen. He's the ship's doctor, but he's crazy or something. I think he does a bunch of coke and meth. I'm stuck back in time, or something. None of the island's continents have the same name, but I never studied history, so I don't know if that's what it was like before. I don't know if we'll get marks for traveling through time, but this could be extra credit, I bet. Anyway, I'm a pirate now. Captain Hale told me to get ready for the worst of things, but he seems pretty confident he'll get me home with his plan. I guess he knows a lot more than anyone else about this stuff. He's the one that got the same legal binding or whatever as me. I guess I should mention that. Duke Grimm captured us and wants us to get him a stupid orb. I'll do it, but only 'cause he might send me home if I give it to him. I'm considering not doing that because he also seems really shady about it. Captain had the crew try and get informations about where the stupid orb is going to be by running around the port. But that just led to everyone getting found out. The crew is pretty recognizable, apparently. I haven't been exercising the most restraint here, so I may have done some damage too. I just want to get home so badly. Anyway, we all snuck around the port after getting the info, and made a plan of attack before getting back to the Selene. That's the name of the ship. And we made our last preparations before I sat down to write this to you. This whole writing you a note thing seems pretty stupid now, I think. But I'm just trying to cope with how insane everything is. We lived in a bubble, but nobody knew. Transporting to other worlds, meeting versions of people we know, going to other times in history. I guess it's a lot more than some people get to do in their whole lives, so I should be appreciative. The people who helped me rehabilitate back home, they always said to find something positive about the situation you're in. So if you do happen to find this and I'm not around, maybe I went to a different world again, or I made it home before you. I win! This note is getting pretty long. It's more like a letter now. Still weird nobody sends letters anymore. I wish I had my phone so I could just email it to you. I hope everything goes well when we find all the orbs, because that's the only way we can beat Grimm. Kinda rubbish that it took till now to hear about it from another weird elf. It's been a bad week. Hope I get home soon. Woof, Andre.
It's been a bad week.
Woof indeed, brother.
Is that
Woof
how you,
indeed.
Is that how you sign off of all your letters?
Of course.
End of every text message, end of every email.
Andre's the guy where when you meet him at the beginning of the day, you're like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" He goes, "Man, it's fucking terrible."
I would also assume in the age of texting, he just uses a paw print emoji.
Yes, little doggy. There we go. Thank you very much, Christian, for that recap.
Arigato.
One thing I will sort of add on top of it, just to be specific, was the sort of main action, quote unquote, after following the port scene was that Hale arranged an ambush of sorts to intercept another orb that was coming into Grimm's possession through like a stagecoach wagon style thing. And you guys managed to grab the orb. The escort all fled. Under threat of death.
On fire.
You set on fire. You brought the orb back. And of course, rightly so, everyone was a little suspicious of how easy it was.
Yeah, that feels a little strange.
That we now have 2 out of the 3 orbs.
That's a little odd. I don't know.
And then as of course Andre already mentioned, there was a small elf who revealed to Eagle Jormungson specifically that as an alternative to bringing the orbs back to Grimm, they could also find all 3 and destroy them.
I think we need a political correction here. Instead of small elf, it's actually leprechaun.
Yes.
Leprechaun, unclean.
Yes. A leprechaun. Yes. So, what appeared to be a leprechaun, anyways, appeared before Eagle and told him of this other method. Mentioned, amongst other things as well, that Grim is a false king, implying that he is sort of moseyed his way into king of the She, who are the fairy creatures of this particular world. So. Anyways, and then Eagle made that, brought that to the captain, so Hale is now aware of that as well. It's been a few days since all of that went down. The Selene is now sailing across the open seas. Where are they sailing, you might ask? Well, if you remember way back to Session 4, Grim mentioned to the pirates that he could give them a general location of where the third and final orb was. And the problem was not necessarily locating it for him, but that the area itself was warded against his kind, but not against humans. So you're able to follow. That's what you're following at this point. You have a map with, and trying a little X, but he's circled an area and said it's in here somewhere. It is curious why Grim hasn't been able to pinpoint the exact location, but it's possible he's never been able to get close enough. Depends on how the word works. I guess we'll see. But before all that happens, before we talk about what's going on with the rest of the ship, we are going to open our scene here with Captain Hale and Andre Serrano. Now, Chris, you requested this scene, so where is this taking place? Is this in your quarters?
Yep.
Okay.
So Hale sends Reinhardt out after they had that conversation. And I'll add that in just briefly here that we had discussed the fact that Grim agreed to Reinhardt's conditions and basically giving us the entire world so casually, so quickly, that both of us immediately came to the conclusion that Grim sees this world as a throwaway. Either because his goals are something grander, or because he knows there's nothing much left to give us when all is said and done.
Yes. That was a very cool conversation, I will add.
So after that has concluded, Hale sits in his office, his quarters, staring out the window of the porthole for a short period of time, and then eventually stomps back out to the deck, does the captain thing for a while, right?
Yes.
Having the wind blow through his hair as he shouts at people. And then eventually, Mr. Serrano, everything seems to be well enough here on deck for the moment. I wonder if I might have a minute of your time.
Of course. He puts down whatever he was doing and saunters over.
And the captain leads him back to not his quarters, but instead to the little meeting area, the wide open meeting area down in the depths of the Selene, where they had originally had their first ward council.
Yes.
No drinks for you today, Mr. Serrano. Don't feel the need. And he closes the door behind him. Why don't you take a seat?
That. Oh, yes, sir.
Hale walks over to the table, sort of puts his knuckles down on them and leans over it a bit as he looks down at Serrano. I've had some of the crew complain to you about me, about you.
Okay.
A little worried. Not about your conduct or your work ethics.
Oh,
those have been sterling. But just about you, Mr. Serrano. They think maybe you're bad luck. Maybe you're cursed.
I think you and I are both cursed, Captain.
Aye. They think you brought it with you.
Oh. Well, if I brought anything with me, it was probably the Duke.
That might be curse enough, all on its own. But I didn't come down here to acquaint you with her belly aching. I told him to stow it and to get back to work, lest I toss them overboard. You're a good lad, and you've been working hard. reason I bring it up, Mr. Serrano, is because I think maybe you believe you're cursed. It shows, you see, in your eyes, in your words, in your manner. Every time we get into a high-stakes situation, you hesitate, like you're not quite sure whether you're doing the right thing, or if you can be trusted to do the right thing.
I mean, would I have asked to have the ability to transform into a wolf? Would I have asked for that? Maybe not.
Mm.
But sometimes you're stronger when you're doing something you don't like to do.
Oh, aye.
Hale
steps back away from the table and settles down into a chair of his own. See, I wasn't worried when the crew came to me because it's the nature of sailors to fear change. Whenever the sea starts throwing up a little bit of wind, a little bit of waves, they start thinking to themselves, maybe this will be the last time I sail. Maybe this will be the one that finally turns the boat up and me down. Never mind that every day is a different day and the wind changes as it will, and all you can do is do your best to ride the waves, whatever kind may come.
What are you getting at, Captain?
You're a man in much the same position as those sailors, Mr. Serrano. And honestly, we all are. But you embody it the best. In yourself. The nature of change. You fear your own ability. The ability to be someone different, something different. And you're not sure whether or not that means you can be trusted. But everybody's got to change. That's the nature of life. Yours is just maybe a little more obvious. On the skin, as it were. You changed a little bit, Mr. Serrano, just in the little time that we've known ye. Roughing it with a rough company like ours.
Maybe
And you ought to be a little less afraid of yourself.
I feel like, and I don't like this, but maybe I do, but ever since I appeared on this boat with all of the crew, never mind that they think I'm bad luck, it just felt a little bit easier.
Go on then, Mr. Serrano. What's easier about being on the crew with the Selene?
I felt like I was chained up every moment I was back home. I felt like there was something tying me down, whether it was real ropes or, morals, people, mentors, my peers. But I loved my peers, but, I felt like I was at a fork with only two ways to go. And ever since I appeared here, there was no fork. I could just go anywhere. On the ship, of course. But
what you're doing there, Mr. Serrano, is embracing change. Recognizing that things don't need to be the same tomorrow as they were yesterday.
right.
Keep embracing it, Mr. Serrano, because the Selene's about to go into the most dangerous situation it's ever been in. And I need every man jack aboard to be doing their best and not hesitate when the moment comes. You understand me?
No hesitation?
Do what you think's right, Mr. Serrano. Trust yourself.
Aye, Captain.
Good. Now get back out there. Got work to do.
Aye, Captain. And Serrano, with gusto, slides the chair back into the table and rushes to get outside and do his work.
Right. Fantastic. Great conversation. Loved it. I was enraptured. So as Serrano comes back out onto the deck, and as the rest of the crew continue about their duties in the day, any of you who might pass by the top deck, and all of you would at some point during the day have to do something, you'll probably notice something in the sky. Or actually, you might notice something that's not in the sky. Since the Selene departed from the little alcove where Grimm had captured the ship and all of that, since you guys departed from that days ago and have been venturing across the ocean to this spot, you've always seen, or whoever's on the lookout has seen, a bird, a white gull, or several white gulls, I should say, just off in the distance somewhere, enough to notice that they're flapping about and all of that. Nothing as forward as Eagle had back in session 3 where one landed on the ship, but always somewhere off in the distance. So many boys to block out the sun. Now, in the last day or so that you've been within this little circled area on the map, you haven't noticed a single bird. Not whether or not you found the spot exactly, it does tell each of you that you must be in the right place. Because it's clear now that those gulls, presumably she in disguise, are not able to tread here. So it's just to mirror inside. Later on in the day, sort of late afternoon, evening, or whatever, one of the men who would have the duty of steering the ship and doing some preliminary navigations would come to you, Hale. Captain, the Selene's been scouring this area of the sea all day, sir. We haven't found anything that would indicate there's anything of value here.
Well, obviously, we haven't looked hard enough. Show me what you've been doing on the chart here, and we'll work out what you missed.
As he starts to lead you over, there's a rocking of the ship. If any of you have ever been on a float when a jet ski passed, you know exactly what I mean. Just like that ripple of something distant affecting the water.
Never mind, lad. You found us.
And it's strong enough that the mighty, a big ship of the line like the Selene is being rocked by it. It's not aggravating. It's not really harsh or anything. You don't feel like you're in a storm, but it's obvious something has moved in the water nearby enough so that the ship is now being affected. It's probably enough that any of you who are on the deck look out to the sea to see. Those who might be below might be coming up just to check, what was that kind of thing, or looking out at the nearest window. However it is for each of you, you do see this in the distance. And on the horizon, not too far away, a few miles away. Listen, I'm not when I say that, I'm not talking on the distant horizon, hundreds of miles away. It's just a few miles away, where there was just blank ocean. You start to see the edge of something, the very, very peak of a hill or mountain, and then that peak slowly starts becoming larger and larger, and each of you realize pretty quickly that something is emerging out of the water. So, and in a few minutes, a few very, very brief moments, where there was blank space, there is now a large cave, basically, popped out of the water. It looks like a mountain cave that you might find, 100 miles up while hiking. It's popped out of the water and is now stuck in place. There's no signs of floating of it or anything like it's, someone stuck it here. It seems like it's always been there. And after the water starts to settle again, there's really no indication that there wasn't a small little island with this prominent cave here. The cave is set up such that water actually can feed directly into it. But a boat as big as the Selene probably wouldn't fit. If the cave is to be entered, you would have to use a smaller, rowboat. As to the rest of it, the island itself is mostly barren and rocky. Around the cave, I mean. Mostly barren and rocky. You can see patches of lichen or moss or something like that. It looks like the very top of a mountain. The cave is prominent, like I said. It's dark within, and you can start to see the ocean again sort of displace itself as water starts to flow into a tributary that was not there a moment ago. After the ship settles again from the rippling waters, each of you are left in silence to stare at this phenomena.
Well, there you are, lad. You forgot to check the little island. And Hale slaps the shaken crew member on the back. Back to your post.
Aye, sir. And he slinks away.
What are you all standing around for? Let's get going. Bring the dinghy over.
Captain, that's no island.
Oh, aye. That is where we're going all the same.
Shit.
Jormungson gets to work on the rigging that holds up the dinghy to the side of the boat.
Okay. Well, Hale, I suppose the decision is yours as to who goes with you. The dinghy could comfortably seat about 10 men, and uncomfortably seat about 15.
All right, well.
We're never comfortable.
There's no point in throwing too many men at the problem. I think we'll go with a comfortable crew.
Okay.
I'll bring
20.
I'll bring the executive officers, such as it were.
Yes.
And let Reinhardt put together whatever war crew he thinks is necessary on top of that. With the instruction that we should not overload the boat.
Right.
Damn it. You knew I was.
Which means, all said and done, Teague is going to be the senior officer?
Yes. He will remain on the ship to oversee.
Yes. Very good. Then I don't have to play dad.
Yeah. Oversee the, basically just...
making sure
drop anchor and hold position.
Making sure nothing bad happens while they float, basically.
Station keeping around this sudden island.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if we do drop anchor, it's going to be attached to the giant sea creature that now created a giant hole in the planet for us to enter.
It's fine. You can grab it in his mouth and drag us along.
Yeah, here's the real facts are you run that risk every time you drop anchor. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, the Ghostbusters, but...
There's always a giant monster there.
You always run that risk when you drop anchor. Such is life.
Okay, so there's the 5 of us that are going.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I would fill it up to 12.
Okay. All right. So you bring an extra.
We're not comfortable, but we're not uncomfortable.
Okay. We're neither up nor down.
I keep bringing another guy until the captain gives me that glare that is like, stop it.
Yeah. Right. All right. Then, assumably, Fry and Jormungson and Serrano, you all get in the boat?
Yep.
So if that's what's ordered of me, absolutely.
What Thomas said.
All right.
No reason not to.
All
And
right.
Serrano and Eagle also count as like 5 people each, so we're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say there's probably a moment where an eagle gets into the dinghy and the dinghy
Yeah,
leans
you have to
to one
move.
side.
You have to move like 5 guys up to the front
to
to
the
like
other side.
counterbalance me.
Yeah.
Well,
but then
actually,
have we-
the extra guys I brought, Eagle's actually holding them.
Yes.
He's sticking out his arms.
Right, I have 2 guys riding on each shoulder.
Did
Comfortably.
we have a night's rest enough to
Lying
cure
down.
a wound, or are we?
Yes,
still
yes, you may.
affected?
You may all heal. It's been over a week in travel, but because I
Okay.
am cruel, and mean, and this is the last session, I'm only going to allow you to heal 1 wound.
You're awful.
That is
Why are you so
cruel.
cruel and
I'm
mean?
the
Thank you.
doctor. Can I have 2?
Actually, you should like take an extra wound because you're probably high on crack.
Yeah. So.
That's
That's
probably
right. Your
only why
lungs
he-
are just a screaming.
Oh,
But
That's
on that-
probably
on
why
that-
he's only at where he is because he's
Yeah.
doing so many drugs.
At that topic, Fry, just the last couple of sessions you've been sober. Are you back on it, as it were?
Yes.
Okay.
When he stepped out of that opium den and wanted to
Yep.
stab a man full of drugs, he was
Yep.
also stabbed full of drugs that night.
That's true.
So-
That is true. Yes, that is true.
Oh,
So
like
he-
a pinata.
He
Nice.
fixed the captain as
Yes.
best he could. Said he can only do that sometimes when he's sober, sometimes, and
Right.
got high immediately.
Got high immediately. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. so
Good
you can heal
doctor.
A wound. Each of you can heal a wound because I'm mean and this is the last session.
Understood.
All right. So
you let us get ample healing last session. We're
it's
good.
true.
I did
It's
very
true. I was
good
very
last
generous.
time.
It's true. Yes. Fry did a lot of healing last week. So
He healed me so much I don't like it.
Yeah.
You can
as
give some of that to me, but
Don't worry,
Uh,
just try and fix it this session.
That's the
Uh,
plan.
I feel like it won't be hard.
No, probably not.
No spoilers, but that's the plan.
So as the dinghy gets lowered into the water and everyone balances out so no one falls over, men are assigned to row the boat towards the cave that was not there a moment ago.
not
Uh,
a cave.
Fry's playing Spyglass.
Yes. A quick survey, and this could be you, Fry, who does this. A quick sweep over the rest of the island. Like I said, reveals mostly just like craggy, inhabitable rocks. Considering it's just sprung up from the ocean floor, presumably, there isn't anything crawling on it or anything like that. Like I said, there's maybe some patches of moss and that kind of thing. Nothing bigger than that, no shrubs or anything like that. Again, making sense considering it was completely submerged just a moment ago, or so it seems. And like I said, it looks like the top of a peak, like someone has shaved off the top of a mountain and plopped it into the water. So, as you start to enter the cave, you guys have lights of some sort, I'm sure. And it's daytime, like it is the day. Like it's late day, I would say. Like, let's say it's like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. So it's not like midday or anything like that, but there's still light out. So as you start to enter the cave, the natural light from outside guides you for a while, and then presumably you have lanterns or something equivalent to help you see as you continue on. The cave, as you continue to row along the water here, is huge and cavernous. Any movement or sound or tapping on the boat is amplified 100 times as it bounces off of the walls around you. Bothering maybe those of you who have more sensitive hearing. It takes you a while, but you eventually adjust to the dark. There's nothing unnatural about the darkness here. For me, and for some of you, perhaps the sound now, the amplified sound of the water sort of gently hitting the sides of the rock may be comforting. Depends on who
Important
you are,
question.
I suppose. Yes.
About what temperature would we say the air is inside of this cave? How much wind is rushing past us? Relative humidity?
Relative humidity. I would say, you're wondering if you're inside someone's nostrils? I would say that the general temperature is cold. So, it is
What?
roughly the temperature that you imagine the water to be here. So, as far as humidity, nothing that out of the ordinary that you wouldn't otherwise find in a sea-bound cave. There's no breeze other than the one that's coming from behind you. So, the walls taste like. So, do you actually do a lick check?
Roll for lick. No. Maybe? Are they close enough?
Trying to decide how high am I?
You would have to purposely like steer the boat towards one of the walls.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So I don't need anyone to roll for navigation. Whoever is rowing the boat is competent enough, and the boat's moving slow enough that you can get around rocks that are jutting out from the bottom and all of that, and natural diversions in the stream. Eventually, the cavernous tunnel gives way to a large cavernous dome instead. It's kind of like you've discovered an underground lake here. All the water stops kind of flowing here and just sort of pools into this place. The ocean water continues to pour in, but the lake has sort of leveled out, so there must be some tributaries below the surface where water is able to seep out or something in order to keep the level even. Or so you imagine. In the very center of the underground lake is a sloped hill. And this hill, unlike everything else, it actually looks quite vibrant. The little hill is straight out of like what you would imagine a deserted island to look like. It's got little palm trees on it. There's short grass around. A little sandy beach rings the island, and the island is sloped enough that you could kind of like get the boat to kind of like grind into the sand and then walk up the hill comfortably. Like I said, it's sand and then gives away to grass in the center, and there's a very tropical vibe to it. So,
despite there being no sunlight here.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah.
There is nothing else in this cave, really, outside of that. The rest of it looks exactly like the tunnels have. And like I said, the cold, dark water suddenly gives away to, a tropical island pulled from the Caribbean, or the Midnight Archipelago, as it would be known here as well. In the very, very center of this island, and so let me give you a scale of the island. When I say it's an island, it is like really a patch of dirt. It's not like a sandbar, but it's not like a big giant, 20-mile island. It's like you could probably line up,
How many people could conga on it?
Yeah, I was about to say, that's so funny. I was literally going to do that. I was literally going to say you could comfortably conga about 12 people from one side to the other.
Gee, how convenient.
So. So.
Mm-hmm.
Funny, I didn't even think the happy accident. I pulled 12 out of my hat. Anyways, forgot there was 12 of you. But that's about the length. You think you could comfortably a line. I don't know why we're using that measurement now. But that's about the size of the island. So it's really just a jut out of the water. It's not like, oh, this is a 20-mile thing. You could build a cottage here or something.
Well,
Except it has a palm tree on it.
It's one of the few things that differentiates us from another Earth is that others measure in football fields. We measure in conga lines.
In conga lines, that's right. That's the real unique thing about this planet.
Are the arms in the conga line, are they limp? Are you really close, or are you completely far away?
No, far away. What are you talking about?
Yeah, far away. These are your conga line with strangers.
Okay.
These are pirates. We're a little bit, on the whiffy side.
Smelly,
so
yeah. This is arm's length conga line. Great question.
That's like 40 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. So right in the and then smack dab right in the center of this island, is an ornate treasure chest, which is about 5 by 5.
Why are you doing this?
Captain, this seems a little too good to be true.
Aye, doesn't it then? Mr. Reinhardt, your impression.
I really want to stab that chest right now. That's about it.
Let's not get so close as all that. And Hale stands up in the boat, pulls out one of his guns, and fires at the island.
Okay.
Gonna aim for what seems most central to the island, whether that's the tree or the chest, whatever seems to be most in the center of it.
Okay. I won't make you roll for that. It's an island. It can't dodge.
Thank
So
God.
you're...
Can't
Yeah.
it?
Confirmed, guys. It can't die.
Noted.
It has a high AC though, so you need.
We will call you out if you change your mind later.
Put in the notes. Can't dodge. Nathaniel has said it. The gun hits the chest. I will determine that is the most center thing.
All right.
And the bullet passes right through it. The chest wavers like a mirage, the mirage that it was, and fades away. And there's another sound of rushing water. And for those of you who look from side to side, there's like holes in the cave here further up, and water starts to pour in from above you like waterfalls. And the very gentle sort of underground lake vibe is quickly displaced by a created current, which pushes the dinghy so that it starts to sort of spin as it starts circling this island and eventually hits part of the sandbank around it.
Are we well and truly stuck on this sandbank, or is there still an opportunity for us to take control of the dinghy and hopefully get where we might want to go?
No, you can definitely still take control of the dinghy, but you notice now that the water is starting to sort of do like a whirlpool thing, where the water is now sort of like there's
swirling around the island.
Swirling around the island, exactly.
Trying to get back into the tunnel system looks like it would probably be a wasted effort.
So, not a wasted effort, but definitely a difficult one in a rowboat. Aside from that, who has the highest notes? I think Andre's probably the one to notice this, considering his supernatural senses. Andre, you become aware of extra sounds. It sounds like the sound of someone pushing through the water. You definitely get the sense that there is something or someone or several someones below in the water who are now swimming through with significant force towards the center island.
Guys, I think we actually do have company in the water.
What do you mean, Mr. Serrano?
Under the water, something
Nathaniel,
is there.
Can I take that cue with my eagle eyes and try and see that as well, since I'm also manning the spyglass, etc.?
Yeah, okay, now that Andre's pointed it out to you and you start to dart your gaze into the water, you definitely spot a couple of figures. The water here is very dark and most people would not be able to make out the shape, but Farai, you have been gifted with incredible vision and are able to sort of start to make out the images, the forms of the figures beneath, especially since as you look, they are rapidly making their way to the surface towards the island. Each of the figures has long, stringy hair, which falls to their shoulders. You distinctly recognize that each of the shapes below are feminine, vaguely feminine in shape. And the top parts of them are roughly humanoid. The bottom halves, however, that is where they differ. For at about the waist, the womanly figure disappears into large, powerful dolphin-like fins, which trails down to the rest of their body. And you spot at least 3 or 4 of these figures and hear many more.
Captain.
I see him, Doctor. What are they doing besides rising out of the water?
As they start to pop out of the water, each of them sort of cast their gaze at you.
And are they
that,
staying out of the water and doing the dolphin thing where they're sort of flipping their tail back and forth to try and stay above it, or it just sort of seems magical hovering in water?
They've bobbed out of the water, so the top half of their body is now out of the water, and they're sort of like spinning back and forth so they can kind of stay in place.
Okay, so they're station keeping with their tails. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, not safe for work. Exactly. Yes, definitely so. Looking around the cavern, there's got to be at least 20 of them that you can see.
Nobody make any hostile moves just yet.
Mm.
What do you be wanting with us?
There's a voice that rings out in the cavern wall, and it echoes many times over. A female voice replies, "We would ask you the same question, intruder." And you realize the voice is coming from the island center. And a woman is there. She does not look like the others. The others are young females, 20s, 30s. She looks much older, 70s, 80s. Her hair is also long and stringy and shoulder length, but it's completely white. And you can see bits of shell, that kind of thing, and sand and other ocean debris buried within. And she rises up from the sand like she'd been sitting there the whole time. Around her wrists, she has a metal chain of some sort wrapped around. And it's wrapped around so that it goes around her palm. And then the end of the chain, which goes on for another 5 feet or so, drags along the sand as she walks. And at the end of the chain are serrated fish hooks. And she has one tied around each wrist thusly. She gets onto her feet and stares at the boat.
Grips his hat and pulls it to his chest in an abbreviated bow. "Ah, missus, begging your pardon, but we didn't realize we were intruding. I be Captain Caligrade Hale, and this be my crew. I don't suppose you'd be so kind as to acquaint us with your lovely self."
"I do not give myself names as humans do, but you may call me the matron."
"Ah, very well. Matron, if I may call you such. What do ye be doing here, and since we be intruding, how would you like us to go, since you surrounded us?"
She squints her eyes and stares at you. "You are the leader of these humans."
"Aye, that's right."
"This is our home. We are the guardians of a relic. You must leave. This place is not meant for your kind."
"Ah, I was of the understanding that it was not meant for fey kind, but that humans were welcome enough. Was I mistaken?"
"No one is welcome, but we have not warred against your kind."
"Ah, well, apologies again for the intrusion. I do have to say, however, that we were coming with something particular in mind."
Treasures do wash into these caves from time to time. Perhaps we could placate you."
"I don't doubt it. Perhaps we can trade, and we can both come out the richer. Why shouldn't we be advantaged by our sudden acquaintance?"
"Speak then. I will grant your request if I can."
Well, why don't you say what we might be given to ye first? We have good stores of various things aboard the ship, as well as gold and jewels with which you might enhance your appearance.
"Despite what tales you may have heard, not all of us merfolk seek after shiny rocks. We have everything we need here, and what we do need, the Father of the Sea brings to us."
"Ah, gracious of him. Can't say if I've ever been able to avail myself of his services myself."
Captain, they're not going to eat us, are they?
"Nay, lad. Kill us, maybe, but I imagine they'd leave us for the lesser fish."
Nathaniel, is there any other conversation happening? Like around us?
Nope. The rest of the merfolk are just, like I said, bobbing in the water and just sort of staring at the boat.
Okay.
So
I
we've
didn't
got
know if there
all
was
of
any
these. Yeah, we got all these mermaids watching us.
murmuring.
Do any of the other maids show obvious weaponry at hand?
No, they do not.
Well, matron, if we have nothing that ye wish, what would you be trading to us?
Speak it. We have gold, jewels that wash into these caves from time to time.
Well, I have to say that I had my heart set on a certain bauble. Probably nothing of much concern to ye. Just a little marble, really.
She pauses for a second. Go on.
It's a matching set with a couple that we've found here and there.
I understand. And she opens her mouth, and her jaw drops much lower than it should be able to. Like she's unhinged it. And at the back of her throat, where like your uvula would be, sits the orb. The very orb you're looking for. Sisters, they know of the orb. Make sure not a single one survives.
How inconvenient. And here I thought we could be friends.
Captain, shouldn't we just tell them?
Aye, lad. We'll see if they let us.
Hang on, Captain, 1 second. Nathaniel, I have an ability called Linguist. I speak all 3 languages, even the dead ones. Do I know merfolk in any capacity?
I would say that you are familiar with it in passing. Why don't you, you read, write, and you speak, read, write all 3 languages, even the dead ones. Sure. I'm going to say that because you have the ability that you can speak it very simply.
Okay. Then after she calls that out and before any conflict can happen, Fry just kind of wants to yell "stop" in her native language and say something to the equivalent of "the captain is not here to hurt you."
Okay. I mean, you can't overwrite what I want to say, but before she engages in hostility, she looks to you and responds to you in merfolk. Enough, and she keeps it simple so you can understand. So, and the words to the rest of you are just like, but she responds to Fry. I do not doubt that he's here for what he might think are good intentions. Nonetheless, we have a job to do. I'm sorry. We do not take delight in killing.
He just replies, "Aye then."
I'll assume that you were trying some diplomacy there, Doctor. But if you were giving them a recipe for our barbecue, I wouldn't blame you nonetheless.
Try to go one day without getting in a fight, Captain.
Just not our lot. Just not our lot, lad.
All right, we are in combat. I will begin with Hale to declare his actions.
All right.
Before even Hale declares his actions, could you... So we are surrounded. Roughly how many of them are there?
Counting the matron, there are 21.
21 counting the matron. Okay.
Yeah.
20 goons, one big lady. Do any of them seem to be not goons aside from the matron? If that's unavailable info, that's fine.
All of the other 20 appear to be young female merfolk.
Okay.
The matron stands alone as an obvious, much older creature with these fishhook chains.
Understood. Right. Sorry to interrupt, Chris.
No worries. Hale places his hand upon one of his weapons, but he doesn't draw it yet. Ladies, it'd be a terrible shame to hurt even one of ye. A single fin would feel like a blow to my own heart. We're only here because we're compelled. We have situations of our own with a twisty shyster of a fae. We have to have that orb if we're going to be getting out of it. We'd love to have your cooperation. But if nay, then somebody is going to get hurt. And it would be a shame on every side.
At that, quite a few of the merfolk actually start letting out what sounds kind of like whale song a little bit, without obviously the modulation underwater. Just kind of like a sort of a gentle sort of song. And most of you just think it's some kind of creepy thing, but maybe for a few of you who are maybe more in tune with the sounds of nature, I'll let you decide whether you're in that category or not. Actually think that maybe it's sort of like a mournful sigh, their version of going kind of thing. And the matron speaks again. You poor creature. You've made a deal with the fairy. I'm sorry, but I will do my part in releasing you from the bargain. The fairy cannot collect on the dead.
Fair enough. We all have to do what we think is right. And I'm going to say that Hale spent his turn trying to convince them.
Yep.
The only other thing he does is he turns to Reinhardt. Mr. Reinhardt, I release you to do what you have to do. Direct the battle.
Understood, Captain.
In that vein, Reinhardt, we'll turn to you. So you declare your action for yourself, and then after Serrano's declared, you can decide what you want to do with the other pirates who came with you.
Oh, this is a tough one.
That's not much to do.
What would
How's it a
Reinhardt-
tough one? Fish fillets, buddy.
Yeah.
No, it's two choices, and one of them can be interesting.
Well, if only one of them is interesting.
Yeah, that's the right one.
So
That's your answer.
All right, Captain. I have free reign.
Aye, lad.
Then I think you know what I have to do.
Aye, lad.
I will grapple the captain and use kind of like one of the short swords to kind of put it up to his neck.
No.
Look, we don't want to do this any more than you do. Only the captain and our friend here entered into this deal. If you're protecting it, we need to figure out something to do here. This fey creature, he's stronger than the other fairy that you may have encountered.
Aye, the lad's right. He might break in here all the same. But only the two of us need to die, if you're determined that that's the only way.
And quite frankly, I don't want to comply with something that could end our world, something that could end my own existence. So, please, don't make me do this.
okay, Reinhardt, I would like you to roll resolve
Mhm.
and convince or empathy.
I don't suppose I could assist that role,
And
since
yes.
I'm quite willingly letting Reinhardt put the sword to my throat, and I spent the turns just talking.
Yeah, you can assist. So
All right. And what do you want me to do?
you can assist in one of two ways.
Mhm.
You can either spend a hero point and give Reinhardt 3 extra dice, as is
Mhm.
one of the rules.
Mhm.
Or you can also make a wits convince roll. The results will be slightly different. So
Wits or resolve?
oh, sorry.
How about
yes.
panache?
So
A lot of style going into this.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think for this one I want resolve or wits. Resolve or wits plus convince.
Yeah.
So up to you, Hale. You can make your own roll, or you can give the 3 extra dice to Reinhardt and have him be the sole roller.
Do you want us to roll that now, or wait for everybody else?
Yeah. So I'm gonna continue down the line in terms of actions. So
BRB real quick.
We'll continue declaring here. Jormungson? And remember again, for all the players, all of this happens simultaneously.
Yeah.
So
You guys got to put me in this situation.
You're complaining. I'm the pacifist.
make your decision.
Well, the pacifist should actually be pleased because it looks like we're aiming in
Well,
that direction.
If this is truly all happening simultaneously,
Mhm.
Jormungson is already attacking merfolk.
Mm.
Because, like...
Well, but you can hear us talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, the conversation
not
is
surprised.
going.
Okay,
as
I
you're
can't
reading the water
hear
or
that
whatever.
then. Fine.
Oh.
What are my options for holding my turn?
You can defer. So.
For how long? Till the end of the round?
You would declare a condition. You would say, "I will act when." So.
All right, I'm declaring. Fine, I'm declaring I will act when either the merfolk attack or they don't attack. If they do attack, I'm attacking them back. If they don't attack, I'm going to crack Reinhardt in the face for putting a sword to the captain's neck.
Okay. Understood. Fry?
Being the pacifist here, all I'm going to want to do is find a way to help efforts to not have more blood be shed, whether it's mine or somebody else's. I don't think. No, actually, this might be the case. Yeah, I will still reply to her. I'll draw my pistol, but I don't aim it at anything. And I will continue to say to her in merfolk as a way to, I guess, cause her to back down and convince. I don't know what kind of role this would be. But to say something, I'll just say it in English.
The thing is, if he's sending us now, and if we die here, we're not going to be the only ones coming for it. It'll just make it easier in the future. You're going to be shedding more blood than there needs to be. Because if this is going to be inevitable, you might not live to see a couple days from now if you get rid of us. Do you want to lose all of yourselves in a couple days? Or do you want us to try and see what we can do to make sure that nobody gets lost at all?
Right. Okay. I would like panache plus convince from you then for that.
Panache.
And then Serrano?
Andre is going to transform into fully a wolf.
Okay.
And that is what he's going to do.
Okay.
Nathaniel, when he does that, is there like a sudden change of mass and he becomes very heavy?
No, it's more like his mass is redistributed.
Okay, so he's not knocking the boat over by doing that.
He was fat before he was a wolf.
Oh yeah, okay.
Fatty.
And there is some magics involved, obviously, but it's more like the body horror transformation from like American Werewolf in Paris, where he's basically the same size, it just changes where the muscle is, kind of thing. So.
Also, before we roll, I'm going to spend a hero point to give 3 dice to the captain.
Cool. Very nice, thank you. And then
I was planning to do likewise, actually. So.
You said okay.
You said I could do one or the other. Are you willing to let us do both so that we give each other an extra 3 dice and roll?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
Let's go nuts.
0 points.
Both get 3 points. Before anyone rolls, Reinhardt, just declare what the other 7 pirates are doing.
Holding.
Okay. Deferring until the mermaids attack or something like that?
Basically, if any... I'll just do it in character.
Yeah.
Alright, the rest of you, hold. If they come to attack, then you fight back. Understood?
They give out eyes and all of that. Most of them have a sword or a pistol drawn.
One guy's like, A!
Yeah.
I mean, I!
Yeah.
Canadian Jerry!
The one Canadian pirate on her ship.
Canada's real in this universe, by the way.
It's actually pronounced Canada.
Yeah, every other country has like a fantasy name, like Avalon, but it's still Canada here.
That's how you can tell this is a fantasy world. There's Canada in this one.
By this point in time, there's still the CN Tower. We don't know how it got there, but it's
Canadians.
Canadians. All right, very good. So everyone has their roles or not roles in this case. So
and we're on a boat.
Yes, you are. Yeah, no, not unless you're doing something physical. So you almost had me. No roll for the pirate squad. No roll needed for Serrano.
My role will be determined by what else happens.
Yeah, so I don't need you to roll right now, Thomas. And then Fry, Reinhardt, and Hale can go ahead and roll.
Okay. That was convince or empathy.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, excuse me, but nature calls. I'll be back in just
31?
a moment.
Okay.
Okay, so...
That was a pretty good one. Out of 5 dice, I got pretty close to the top.
Yep.
Dramatic wound gives 1 die,
29.
right?
That's right. 29, right, Richard?
Yeah, at least it's not a 9.
Okay. 48, then 30, and then...
Hey, Richard, can I take the 1 from your 31 to make mine 49?
Yeah, you can actually.
Well, will you allow that, DM?
It doesn't make any difference, but yeah, sure.
It makes me feel better.
I don't know. Sure. Great, we got the moral victory.
So close.
So.
Okay. Now that my number is 49, can I get a pity point?
No.
If you give him a -1 next week.
Yeah.
All week next week, he gets a -1.
Yeah, I'm okay with dying next session.
Oh.
Yeah,
as long as I round up everything after 5, it's rounded up.
Nice. Okay, so because all 3 of your roles were basically all about the same thing, all of you were working in tandem to try to talk the merfolk down. I think I'm just going to resolve the things kind of simultaneously here. I think that just makes a certain sort of sense. So what I will say is obviously each of you use a race to succeed. So Fry and Hale, you have 2 left over. Reinhardt, you have 3 left over. So here's the thing.
We didn't do it.
Here.
Does it at least change their disposition towards us so that before they were feeling rather hostile and now they're feeling, okay, well, these are nice guys. It's just too bad that they're stuck in a difficult position.
No, I'll tell you what happens. So
okay.
I'm just calculating in my head quickly. So in 1 second.
There he is anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So, you have 7 races total left over. Okay, 7 of the 20 merfolk that are in the water, bop back into the lake and swim away. and the other 13 start to look a little less interested in proceeding towards the ship.
So you'd say overall their disposition has gone from hostile to neutral-ish?
The matron stares at the gentlemen who have spoken to her. You're brave humans. Most come into this cave looking for nothing but a gold doubloon. I can see that you want more out of this, and perhaps the choice was taken from you. I will give you a counteroffer. You say that only the captain and one other, and she stares at the now a dog man, a wolf.
Mm-hmm.
You say that only 2 of you are bound by this deal. Very well. Then here is my new proposal. Those 2 will come onto the island and face me. If you defeat me, then you will leave.
That seems fair to me. What do you think, Reinhardt?
I don't know, Captain. I think I have kind of the power right now, seeing how I kind of have the dagger to your throat.
Andre, this is the most interesting thing that's happened all day.
Andre snarls at Reinhardt.
Out of character, what's her name? Matron?
Yeah, the matron.
Okay.
Yep.
Madam Matron, counter proposal to your proposal. We have 2 out of these 3 orbs that are needed. You give us yours, and hopefully whatever deal has been struck is removed and resolved. In exchange, we give you the other 2.
Oh.
She shakes her head. You have the other 2?
Lad, you never were as keen a negotiator as you were a fighter.
Oh dear. You have no idea. We can't take the other orbs. You don't understand.
Well, Les, this is your opportunity to, enunciate the issues as you see them.
You see our predicament, don't you?
But if it puts your mind at all to rest, we have no intent of giving them over to this creature any time too soon. We know we're working in a cleft, like a snake stuck between a twig. But give us credit. Haven't we talked ye down?
She, with a swiftness you didn't expect from an old lady tied with chains, she unhinges her jaw again and vomits onto the island. And with a whole bunch of other gunk that you don't want to think about too much, a small blue orb rolls out from the back of her throat. It rolls down the hill and stops in the sand.
Good choice. Mr. Reinhardt, if you don't mind removing your dagger from my throat, you can go fetch that and I'll cover ye. And
aye, Captain.
And slowly one by one...
shrugs his bandolier loose and pulls one of the guns. Sorry, go ahead.
And slowly one by one, the merfolk and the water disappear back into the water.
Right, and Hale just sort of loosely covers Reinhardt as presumably he steps out of the boat briefly.
Yep. I get out of the boat, step onto the island, and I stand in front of the orb, not picking it up, so that nobody else can pick it up. So I'm between it and the rest of the crew.
The matron stands sort of weary, like someone who's just vomited. And you can see, like, green and black slime dripping down her mouth or whatever. And she just kind of, like, very warily nods at you and just sort of stands where she is.
Now explain to us exactly what these do. Why this person, my captain, entered into a deal for so willingly to give us everything that this world has to offer in exchange for a tiny bauble. And why all three of them coming together seems detrimental to survival.
There's a distant shaking, and the whirlpool that's happened in the lake ceases as you notice that the water stops pouring out from the crevices above. And then there's another shake. Oh dear. You need to leave, humans, unless you know how to breathe underwater. I'm sorry. I would love to explain it to you, but in truth, I don't know what they do either. But I will tell you something. Reinhardt, your name is. I will tell you one thing. You say, he offers you everything this world has to offer. And I say, there are many things this world has to offer, which no man knows. I would say that you have about 2 or 3 minutes to get out of this cave before you join us permanently. And the shaking intensifies. As the water level begins to rise and actually lifts the boat above the sandy area of the island, and Reinhardt, you are aware of about a foot of water now around your ankles.
Yep, I grab the orb and book it.
Hale reaches out his arm, pulls Reinhardt back into the boat. Mr. Eagle, Mr. Serrano. Maybe not you, Mr. Serrano. Man the oars. Let's be getting out of here.
Yeah, Eagle is... This is, obviously it's carrying 12 people, so it's a big boat. Yeah. Probably each oar is meant to be handled by one person, but Eagle is in the middle holding 2 and just...
Yeah. Could I get a brawn and athletics roll from you, Eagle?
You certainly may.
Yeah, we'll use that as your defer. So.
Eagle.
May I take my points for large and sea legs?
Yep.
Thank you. 41.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Perfect. 1 to succeed. Remember how she said you had 3 minutes to get out of the cave?
Hey, there it is.
One raise for each minute.
All right. I think I'll use my raises that way. Thank you.
Yeah. Whew, good job. Okay. Eagle rose like a man possessed, using everything his strength can to carry him and 11 other fully equipped pirates out of the Law Sea Cavern. You managed to...
I mean, others would assist him, but they just get in the way. They can't stroke that fast.
Exactly. You managed to break back into the now emerging twilight of the outside, just in time to watch the underwater mountain slowly sink back into the water.
Well then, back to the ship.
And Andre, again with your amazing hearing, probably pick up something that sounds similar to whale song, as something obviously massive begins to splash far beneath the ocean surface. And then the cave is gone.
Did we just complete the water temple, guys? Holy shit.
Andre transforms back to a person.
Oi, Reinhardt, stay in character.
The fourth wall, no! The dinghy makes it back.
What's this I'm seeing through here? Who are all these people?
Eagle continuing to keep the momentum going until the dinghy is safely within ear and eye shot of the Selene. The Selene stops to allow you guys back on, and in a few more minutes, you're back on. Now with 1 extra orb to add to the inventory.
Guys, that means we have 3 ball. We've done it.
War Council, if you don't mind.
I was just going to ask Hale, currently, where are the other 2 orbs? In terms
the other
of
2 orbs are in completely separate places on the ship. One is stored in that war room, and the other is in the captain's quarters.
Okay. All right, excellent. And obviously, the most recently acquired one is assumably still being held
on Mr. Reinhardt's person, yep.
Gotcha. Okay. Then we will screen wipe to the War Council room. Is everybody in this hail, including Serrano? Or is Serrano been excluded? Okay.
Nope, everyone's here.
Okay. Then all of you are present. So presumably Teague is present too, but he'll remain quiet for now.
For now.
Yeah.
Good effort, lad. Hale says to Reinhardt. I thought for a moment we might get a few revelations, but it seems, although everyone's afraid of the orbs, nobody knows anything about them.
I don't understand, Captain.
There's something we're missing here, clearly. Something critical. Question that needs to be answered before it's too late.
We can't pull our anchor yet. We gotta stay here until we figure something out.
We might not find the answers here, though, Mr. Reinhardt. They might be out there. Or, and he looks pointedly towards where you've stowed the orb, in your clothing. It might be right here with us. Mr. Serrano, you're deep in this. Go to my quarters. Inside the cabinet, you'll find an area that you have to tap 3 times on the back panel to open. Go bring us the orb I've stowed there.
Yes,
and
sir.
As soon as Serrano returns, the captain goes over to a inconspicuous oak panel in the war room here and does the same 3 taps. And a smooth oiled mechanism slides. And the captain reaches in. Oh, this is for later. Puts the bottle back, pulls out the orb.
Captain, based on the aerial life I saw as we were sailing in, we have 20 to 30 nautical miles, 40 at the very best, before that scumbag's spies are on our boat again from the sky.
Aye. Whatever we need to do it quickly. And Hale places one of the orbs right down in the center of the war room table.
So what are the fables to these orbs? Does anybody even know?
The legends, Mr. Reinhardt, that I've heard told that they pointed away. They made 3 points of an arrow, showing something, some hidden treasure, some lost continent. But I've never heard the same story told twice. Mr. Serrano, if you wouldn't mind, and Hale points to an area on the edge of the table, which would put it at sort of a right angle to the one that he's laid down.
Okay.
Andre places the orb where you pointed out.
So there are 2 orbs on the table at this moment.
One right in the center and one sort of like on the edge, a little bit set back from it.
Okay.
Egil is feeling a little paranoid at this point. So he's still listening to everything and he will engage, but he's going to take up a position by the door. Just in case anyone that isn't, obviously he's expecting, who ran off, Jackdaw, to get the last orb?
Mm-hmm.
No, he's obviously...
Serrano. I'm inside.
So he's expecting Serrano, but after that, if the door opens again, Eagle's waiting by it.
Gotcha. So Serrano has returned, and you let him in, and then you take up station there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got a bucket of water on the door, except it's your fist.
Bucket of fist.
And too bad about that pirate who's bringing you all hors d'oeuvres. He's lost all most of his teeth now.
Lawrence, no! You killed him!
He's done for.
Yeah.
He brought it over on one of his special wooden plank.
I don't know if it's going to be as simple as bringing them all together, but let's find out. And
what's to stop us from just destroying one of them, Captain?
The captain gives sort of a look as though you were contemplating. Why don't you try, Mr. Reinhardt, with the one you got?
The Eagle gives the captain a very knowing look, but he says nothing to anyone else.
All right. With that prompt, I give it a try. I put it down on like a small side table, and pull out my sword and try and like slam it down.
So just to clarify, you're putting it on a table that's distinct from where the other two were.
Yes.
Okay.
Purposefully.
Yeah. Your sword is not harmed, but it bounces off of it like the hammer in the Lord of the Rings there.
Oh, fuck me sideways. Yeah. You knew that was going to happen, Kevin.
I tried earlier, Mr. Reinhardt, with one of the ones I had already. Set it down in my quarters. You'll find a big hole where the bullet went through, but it didn't hurt the orb none.
Oh, Christ. Fine. Pick it up and, Captain, you're sure about this?
Nay, lad. But we have to take a risk if we're going to have any reward.
I don't want this reward, whatever it is.
Nay, lad, what I mean is, if we're going to live through it.
Very well. And I place it on the other side of the table.
As soon as the third orb is on the same surface as the other two, all three of the orbs glow immediately. And they shift from red, blue, and green, respectively, to just a gold. I mentioned before that the orbs each have sort of like a gold outline around them, like they're trimmed in gold. But in a moment, the gold overtakes them, like someone just quickly spray painted each of them. And now the orbs are all gold, and they, without any movement or provocation, start rolling towards each other, like they were suddenly magnetized. Any effort amongst you to try to stop the orb just sort of like rips past your hand.
Ow.
They're moving much too fast to stop, and they collide with each other in the center of the table and link. Similarly to if you've ever, built a little model molecule in science class, the three form a right angle triangle, and the gold filament, like the trim of each, unfolds out of the orb and links the orbs together. So you basically end up having the three circles and these three lines of gold linking them.
And they form a triangle.
Yeah. With the sort of trim folded out to connect them, the orbs, besides now glowing and golden, now look less like solid metal objects and more just like glass beads. And there's a sound that washes over each of you, a distinct sound of the ocean, like you each held a conch shell to your ear for a moment. Then the sound dissipates, and the glow subdues, although doesn't go away entirely. And now you're left with the three linked, and like I said, the orbs look like glass now, as opposed to the solid metal they did before.
And are they apparently pointing in any particular direction, would you say? Did they change their orientation relative to where they were placed on the table?
Right now, the triangle is pointed, is set on the table and is pointed out towards where Eagle is standing, towards the door.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of turning into glass, what are we seeing inside of them? If anything.
Whereas before you saw, like if you looked in it, it had that sort of like you swear you saw the ocean and all of that. Now it just looks like a cat's eye marble. And whereas before it was almost like trippy and like, whoa, what am I seeing? Now it kind of looks like a cheap prop. If any of your, maybe Andre thinks
FX budget.
Maybe if Andre thinks this, just because obviously the rest of you wouldn't be akin to technology, but maybe to Andre it looks a little bit like someone shut off the SFX, yeah. like suddenly being able to see the green screen on a film.
Well, curious. Not
Well,
exactly
Captain,
what I was expecting.
the most interesting thing to happen today. I did say it.
And Hale walks to the door, nods to Mr. Jormungson, throws it open, and shouts out to the man on the tiller to turn the ship.
Okay. You feel the familiar sensation of the ship turning, and as it does, the triangle continues to reorient itself so that the front is pointing a particular direction.
Ah, there we are. Our compass.
As
Too bad it
he's
doesn't give us much of a sense of how far to go.
Since the captain is close to me, I want to say to him quietly, I think he's probably close enough to me that I could say it that no one else could hear. Remember, Captain, we have the option of getting rid of these. They can destroy each other.
Or so you were told by a leprechaun.
So I was told by a leprechaun. Nonetheless, leprechauns versus Sheed, or Fae, whatever that fucking monster was. I know which I choose, but I'm behind you all the way, Captain. Just a brief reminder.
I appreciate that, Mr. Jormungson. I wonder how we would get the orbs to self-destruct if that were an option. And I wish we knew what the consequences of it were. A lot of worrying choices to be made. But don't you worry. We'll work it out together.
Whatever choice you make, we will have to wait until after the break. So it is 9:21. So we will return, gentlemen, at 9:31. And there we will decide our fates. See you then.
See you then.
I steal the compass.
Alright. So like I was saying, the orbs have now combined. The gold fillings have unlinked, unfurled to link the three orbs together. And like I said, they've shifted from their hard metallic look to that of a glass. So I'm going to give you the headphones here.
Introducing Bob to the show.
And if Chris, if you could cue Mr. Teague, that would be awesome.
All right, I will. Lads, normally my word is law, and I'll have it no other way, but this is a matter not just for the Selene, but potentially for the whole world. And it's us who must make the decision. So I'm calling it to a vote. For each of ye, we need to say whether we want to try and destroy these balls or lead where they'll go.
What would destroying them do?
We don't know, lad. That's the risk we're taking. We don't know where it is that these balls might lead us. And we don't know what destroying them might accomplish or undo. But we have to make the decision one way or the other. I'm going to call you each in turn. Mr. Teague, what say ye on the matter?
Captain, I'm inclined to acquiesce to your decision.
Thank you, Mr. Teague. Mr. Reinhardt?
Bum, 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 bum.
Thanks, Bob. See you next week, Bob.
He has leveled
Yep.
up.
Yep, there it is. See you next week, Bob. Yeah.
Doesn't take much to earn your keep on union
That's
union
right.
pay.
That's right. Well, he's such an
He's been
expensive
in
actor.
the union
when you have
for so long
Yeah.
at this point, too.
Exactly. He's such an
He doesn't
expensive
even have to pay
actor.
dues
Dude,
anymore.
it's scale.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 3 minutes, and that was our whole budget today, guys. Getting Bob on the mic. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
why
All right,
he's only
GG.
making small
Good
guest
session.
appearances.
it's all the monsters are going to be on like strings now. You're going to see the strings,
Well,
unfortunately.
that's the reason why
Young Why?
those orbs
Yeah.
turned into just glass marbles, because we're
That's
just like,
right.
we spend all the money on Bob. We don't have any more SFX
Yeah,
budget.
we got nothing. We got nothing. So
The budget.
All right, pulling us back into the scene then.
Yep.
yes.
Mr. Reinhardt, what are your thoughts?
Captain, honestly, I feel like either way we do this, we're fucked. Destroy it at what cost? Have them lead us to something? If it's beyond this protective bubble that we're in, well, what's to say we're not just giving him what he wants? But what's to say that destroying it is not giving him what he wants to begin with?
My lad.
I need to hear the others.
That's fine. Gentlemen, each of you can say your piece, and we'll make the decision corporately. Mr. Jormundson.
I imagine there is a way to destroy these now that they've been bound together. I imagine it probably wouldn't even be that difficult. But there are a few things that makes me question whether that is the correct choice of action.
Aye.
The first being, if that were true, would it not be exactly what Grimm expects of us? Knowing that it is a possibility, no matter how slight, that they could be destroyed. I imagine Grimm would expect us to do it rather than turn them over to him. Furthermore, destroying them would be in direct breach of the contract that you and Serrano have both put yourselves into.
Don't worry about that, lad. Besides, I never promised I'd deliver them in one piece.
An interesting caveat, but one that I'm not sure will hold up in a Fey court. Either way.
Well, lad, if he wants to sue me, he'll have to find me first. But anyways, go on.
Knowing that we've already been taken for a ride, I can only imagine the ride has to continue. Getting off at the first possible stop is probably what he expected of us, and I'm not ready to fall into the expectations he set for us as a crew.
Well reasoned, lad. Doctor, what's your piece of this?
Well, Captain, from what I can reckon, we deliver these things. It's entirely possible we die. And if we destroy these things, we have no idea what that would do. Best case scenario, probably honestly, we die. So, I say, best course of action in order to avoid, well, depending on what anything can lead to, taking it out of the equation entirely, removing those from the world, and well, I guess blowing them up. And at least, if you don't get to bring him back, the crew's still fine, and you're probably going to be more dead than I'm able to fix up, so at least you won't have to see me fuck that up.
You raise a good point, Doctor. Mr. Serrano, you're the last. But your opinion might be the most important here. You bring context that we don't have at hand. You know this Duke better than we do, and you've seen what he's done elsewhere. Tell us what's a hero's perspective on this whole thing.
Maybe it's just because I'm looking out for myself more than any of you. And maybe you think I'm selfish for it, but I doubt you do. I know you all by now. We're all just looking out for ourselves. But we have to go see where it leads. What if what we get to is actually good?
It's possible.
I think we should consider that.
Aye. That's always the hope, the dream. We didn't become pirates because we liked the work hours, but because we knew that if we took certain kind of risk, a measured risk, a calculated risk, maybe at the end of it all, riches awaits. And up to this now, lads, up to this point, riches have been ours. We made terrible gambles before, taken some serious risks. And for all of that, for the terror of the seas, when people hear the name Selene, they shit themselves. That's worth something, lads. That's worth a lot. My vote's that we roll the dice one more time and see where fate lands them. We've a lot to lose, but also a lot to gain. Let's say, Mr. Reinhardt, coming back around to you, yay or nay?
The Orbs is one thing, but this Grim character. Andre, what does he expect of us?
You guys think I know him well, but I only met him once.
You met him once more than us.
He doesn't think highly of us. I'll say that. But
Couldn't tell.
yeah. It's
On the contrary, Serrano, I think he might truly believe there is something to this crew.
well, he knew we were the only ones that could get this done, but to him we're easily disposable.
Easily disposable and useless are not synonymous.
Hey, you got it, Mr. Jorgensen. He thinks of us as a pawn. It's the sort of thing you sacrifice in order to gain something greater, but perhaps he's made a critical error in underestimating us. Regardless, we have to hope and play into that. If he thinks too little of us, it's all to the good. You want your enemy underestimating you right until you shanked him.
Doesn't a pawn change when it gets to where it's supposed to be?
Listen, Mr.
checkers.
Serrano. Yeah,
Anyways.
Hale laughs in character as well and just, Doctor. Yes, that's true too. Mr. Reinhardt, I think we're getting the feel of the room. What do you say?
Look, Captain, I hate this. Either way we slice it, I despise this entire thing. The merfolk who would have can't even believe that those things are real.
And there's worse.
And now we need to put
There's worse.
Now we need to put our faith into this magical trinket.
Nay, Mr. Reinhardt. We're not putting our faith in the trinket. We're following it, but our faith's in ourselves, like it's always been.
You know how I feel about the supernatural bullshit, Captain.
Oh, aye, Mr. Reinhardt. All too well. And it's an opinion I share. I see an opportunity here for shoving that blade of yours way up this fairy boy's ass. And it would be a shame not to take it.
Hi, Reinhardt. I'm surprised you're even fighting this. This is the perfect opportunity for you to lay some of that magic shit to rest.
Oh, when you put it like that, I have no choice, don't I?
Before we move into something like that, I have no idea how he got here, where I got. So, if there is a chance I can find out how to move between the worlds like I did. Whatever.
Look, Andre,
if
you're wanting to move between worlds, you need to have one to move from.
Keep your mind on the task at hand, boy. Don't worry. One way or the other. We've all committed to being in this together. And that includes your own goals. That's how the crew of a pirate ship works. We're all pulling together for our own good.
Right.
Eagle walks over to Serrano, puts his arm around him, and just says quietly to him, "Remember what I said a few weeks ago? All directions, aside from down, lead home. Try not to go down."
If we do have that fairy bastard at our mercy, I'll give you a few seconds to squeeze some information of him before I let Mr. Reinhardt deliver the killing blow.
Aye, Captain.
Anyways, Captain, your sword is mine. Let me retake that. Anyways, Captain, my sword is yours. Take it where it goes.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt. For the rest of you, I appreciate your input and your support. Let's make the most of this opportunity and not be afraid of change.
And so the Selene set sail, guided by this golden triangle, we'll call it. Every time the Selene pitches or turns, the device, the trinket, whatever you want to call it, stays true, pointing to a direction, which continues to take you further and further out into the open sea. Those of you on the upper deck can tell immediately when you've gotten outside of the quote-unquote warded area, because again, on the edges of the horizon, you once again see the white gulls. As the ship continues voyaging onwards, a couple of the gulls actually start making their way towards the ship. I would say exactly 3.
Captain.
They seem intent on landing on the deck.
If any of them get anywhere near the deck, I'm going to try and fucking crush them with my hammer. As soon as they're in range, I'm swinging.
I don't know. I think Andre's been feeling a little peckish lately. Nothing a bit of chicken won't fix.
Alright, seeing your obvious...
Captain,
go ahead.
The captain, following up on all of this, has Reinhardt order the archers to the deck.
Right.
Single volley. Give them some warning shots first, just to see how they react.
Right. So the arrows fly with warning shots intended, so they sort of fly over them. And the birds, now very clear on the intent of the Selene, start backing off. They make one more, very, tentative approach to the ship again, and then think better of it and fly off in the opposite direction.
Yeah, you mofos.
So,
get wrecked.
As the voyage continues and day becomes night and night becomes day and you continue to follow this relic, gulls like that continue to make attempts to land on the ship or to fly themselves into a sail or a mast. But somebody, one of you, the archers, whoever, obviously are posed and ready, and the creatures never get close enough. Day becomes night and night becomes day. 5 days have passed. And the trinket gives way from pointing in one direction to starting to spin. Whatever surface is on is now sort of spinning in place. Like a compass that's hit a magnetic field or something like that.
Or like we're at true north. Oh, yeah. Days have passed. How's the heal sitch?
Each of you can heal one additional wound if you so like.
Oh no, I don't get my additional wound die anymore. No.
So like, yeah.
As I said, if you so wish, because I know there is an advantage to having one dramatic.
I'm okay with
all right, so
that.
So the device is now
captain-
spinning in place, like I said.
The captain orders trimming of the sails and dropping the anchor.
The ship comes to a stop. It seems like in every direction you look, there's a little group of gulls.
Aren't they just hovering out there in the middle of the ocean?
Coming
answer
to
is
and from the
magic.
ship, and some fly off into the sunset, and others continue to fly around. You get the sense that not all of them are magical gulls, because some of them definitely just seem intent on diving for a fish and then flying away.
Eagle looks directly up. Is there anything up there?
There's the sky, and there's clouds, and the sun, which is setting, is coming to evening.
Eagle walks over to Jackdaw, gives him a huge clap on the back, and goes, "Oh, hope you can hold your breath," and then walks away.
The trinket continues spinning, and like it did when you first combined it, each of you again hear the sound of waves, like you held a conch shell to your ears.
Crewman, and Hale walks over to one of them.
Yeah.
Miss Lawrence, I see it is. How are you doing today? Doing better after that punch, I hope. I want you to take soundings. Take one now and take one in 5 minutes and tell me whether the results are the same.
Hi, Captain.
Thank you.
So you know what a sounding is?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
He's checking the depth.
Okay. Gotcha. It's deep here. Very, very deep. Like I said, you're right in the middle of the ocean. I don't know how long the anchor is, but it's quite possible the anchor actually can't reach bottom here.
Right.
So,
Well, that's generally the case.
that's generally the case. That's true. Usually the
It's
anchor
just to
snags
produce
on
drag.
something. Yeah, it's usually a drag, exactly. The anchor's definitely not hitting the bottom in that case.
Okay.
So the idea is you continue for 5 more minutes and then have him take another one.
Take soundings again to see is the measured depth the same.
As you continue on, the measured depth appears to be the same, if not deeper. And once again, each of you are hit with the sound of ocean waves. It's like almost like a tinnitus sort of effect, where it sort of rings in your ears for a little bit and then fades away.
Yeah, but I think we're missing something.
Aye, so it would seem. There's nothing to be seen at the moment here. Let's hold position for a bit. See what the magical compass wants of us. Maybe it'll make itself a little clearer.
Nathaniel,
Yes.
do my supernatural senses pick up anything?
Outside of the obvious magical gulls that continue to circle the ship at long distance, and the obvious like heebie-jeebies you get from the artifact, no, not in particular.
Okay.
Now, one question I do have.
Yes.
Well, I guess I could just ask this in character.
Mhm.
Captain, since we had those things assembled, has anyone touched it?
GM, has anyone?
Not unless you've taken it off of the initial table it was set up on.
I don't believe so, Mr. Reinhardt. Why do you ask?
Because I don't know. Just call it superstition. Whatever you want, but maybe if somebody were to touch it or lift it up, it might point the way.
Mm. Well, you have a good instinct for these sorts of things, Mr. Reinhardt. I'd ignore it at my peril. And Hale strides down to the war room where the arrow is spinning.
Yes.
And
Fry runs with him just in case the captain loses an arm or something.
Right.
so how rapidly is this spinning? Are we talking helicopter blade here? Or are we talking,
Yeah, like I don't know if any of you ever seen like a compass in like where it's against like a magnetic metallic metal or
so
like that, but it's like flying. Yeah.
Pretty fast, but it probably won't like sever a limb, right?
No. It's not going to chop your limb off if you touch it, but like it's dancing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, then Hale pulls one of his flintlock pistols free and sticks it into the path of the spinning compass here to try and stop it so that he can get a grip.
You feel wet, cold. You ever been swamped completely by a wave or something when you're like surfboarding or boogie boarding or something, and come back out of it and like your eyes feel a bit salty? You're just like, whoa. Like there's just that feeling as you reach out and make contact with it. You feel like you've just been swamped by a wave. And there's just a sight, a vision of like a ripple across water. And there's something else, but the image has gone too fast to see it. And the device continues sort of spinning in place.
Well, how is it spinning through my gun?
Oh, right. So it spins and like hits the gun.
Yeah.
And then like starts to spin the other way and hits the gun, and
okay.
So it's doing that thing it would do,
It's doing like
if you stick something in a, yeah.
Something about water. That's not bloody useful, compass. We're on the ocean. Miss Reiner, get Mr. Serrano down here.
Andre!
Andre arrives.
Lad, I think this is meant for you.
For me?
Take hold, lad.
Andre does so.
You grab it with your hand?
Yeah.
You get the thing finally stops spinning as it's being held in your hand. You get that same sensation like you've just been dropped in the water and swamped by an enormous wave and have come up in the aftermath of it. You actually feel for a second like you're damp and wet, but you can't be, of course. You haven't been in the water. You have that same sudden flash of ripples in the water, like someone's dropped a stone into it. And then there's another sight. No, it's not clear what it is. Wait. Motion? Motion under the water. That's what the image was. But it's gone now. And the device just sits simply in your hand.
There's something.
It wants something from you, Andre. It wants you to do something to it. Something to do with water.
What'd you see, Andre?
I need to get closer to the actual water. I need you to put me in the water with this.
Fair enough. Come on, lad. And Hale strides off back to the top of the deck, has a man tie a couple of ropes to Andre, one snug beneath his arms, another around his waist. And he has a couple of strong men backed by Eagle lower Andre into the water, still holding on to the conjoined orbs.
Congrats, Andre, you've been baptized at sea.
At least you're not buried at sea yet.
Yes.
Sorry. So Andre's been lowered in. How are you holding the orbs at this time, Andre?
in the palms of my hands.
Okay.
The paws of your hand.
Do you go in the water with the orbs? Or are you on the boat with the orbs, like the dinghy?
Yeah, it's just to dip him in.
I'm going in.
Okay. You enter the water. It's cold. It's salty. Everything you expected the water to be.
Oh, we tied a rope around him.
Oh, yeah, I know you have a rope around him, but I mean, he's in the water,
ropes.
right? Yeah, but he's in the water, right? So
Yep.
It's cold and it's salty. It's everything you expected it to be. The waves are rapid here. It's flashing against the boat. You've noticed it. You've only been on the ship for a few weeks. These pirates, they've lived most of their lives out in the sea, but every so often it just makes you a bit nauseous, maybe. But now you've lost even the protection of the boat to keep you stable. And you realize how powerful and rapid waves can be, and how thankful you are that you're tied to something. Otherwise, you're pretty convinced you would just be swept away in an instant. Even as supernaturally tough as you are, you're not sure that you could swim back to the ship in this kind of current. But for the time being, you're in the water. Like I said, it's cold and it's salty, and the orbs in your hands start to glow a little brighter.
Oh boy.
Your hand burns a little bit, as if you were holding onto a lamp.
Do the orbs feel lighter when they're in the water?
I don't think so. I should say you don't think so. I'm not there. You don't think so. But you're eating a lot of salt water, so if you're going to do something with them.
I hold two of them and let one go to see if it floats.
No, these will not float. These are heavy.
I don't know what to...
Andre?
He's been down there for a while. Eagle pulls him up.
In fact, they're very heavy, Andre.
Oh.
They're heavier than maybe you might have thought they would be in the water.
I tug them to pull me back up.
Yeah, I pull him up.
Okay, you come back up into the ship.
I think I have to drop them.
Eagle turns to the captain.
Or go down with them.
Is that possible?
Nayland.
They got
sent
heavy.
you too far. You're a werewolf, not a werefish.
They got suspiciously heavy. They got very heavy.
You're saying they're heavier in the water than they are up here.
Yes.
And the captain has them bring over a bucket that is often used just to bring some water on board for cleaning and so on. And he has Andre drop the balls into the bucket. Maybe it's not you they wanted, Mr. Serrano. Maybe it was just these. And he has one of the carpenters hastily nail the bucket shut with another piece of wood so that the balls will stay inside.
Right.
Just in case we do want to draw it back up. And then he has the men lower it over the side.
On a rope, like attached to a rope.
With presumably the longest available rope on the boat.
Yeah.
You tie multiple ropes together.
We cut all our sails
sailors, we know how to
turn
do
them into
knots.
rope.
All right.
Take all our rigging off.
The bucket goes into the water And as it descends into the water, the wind suddenly picks up. And what Andre sensed was strong, pattering waves turns into really, really harsh waves. You can see from every side clouds begin to move in and block out the sky that was clear just moments ago. And the wind and the waves get fiercer and fiercer and fiercer. So the gulls around the boat who have been sort of fruitlessly trying to approach and then get scared away finally give up and flap away as quickly as they can from around the Selene. And in a moment, you're all rocked suddenly, and the boat tips terribly to one side, like something's grabbed hold of the bucket. And it's yanking the rope, and the wood is attached to, and the whole ship, such that it's listing to one side. Whatever has snagged the bucket has made it clear that it wants it. If you do not get rid of that rope, this boat is flipping over.
Oh no, we're not. It's just being held by people.
Oh, it's being held by people? Okay.
If it's being pulled that hard, then it almost certainly pulls a couple of people right to the edge. And if they're smart, they let go.
All right. The rope.
Eagle, let's go.
The rope snaps into the water quickly, and the wind and the waves continue to build around you. The clouds gather into a black storm cloud, and there is a terrible roar. There's a terrible, terrible screech that follows it, and it's clear from the sounds that those were two distinct creatures. There's another huge splash near you, like someone's let 100 cannonballs into the water, and the water erupts and rains down, soaking the crew. Another huge eruption from the other side. And a third, and a fourth, and a fifth, and the whole area rocks violently as a storm begins to brew around you. But it's not just around you. As far as you can see into the horizon, the ocean has taken a turn for the worst, and clear skies have given way to storm. And then, a moment later, a giant mountainous thing pops out of the water. It's huge. It's enormous. And in a moment of realization, you understand what it is. It's the mountains, the cave from earlier. But it was no cave, because the thing is now on its back. And you see giant flippers, an injured head, and you watch this massive 100-foot-long turtle that you must have been inside only days before suddenly get dragged back under the water by a giant spiked tentacle. And there's a snap underneath the waves. Something just ate it. And you're about to see what it was, because two giant tentacles emerge from the water, each big enough to blot out the sun, if the sun wasn't already blotted out by the stormy clouds. Jagged rocks begin to appear out of the water, and the more savvy among you realize there's no rocks in the water, they're teeth. And something with too many teeth and too many eyes breaks the surface of the water just ever so slightly. And there's a roar, and there's a hiss. The two tentacles slap down onto the water, rocking the Selene from side to side. And there's a laugh. A high-pitched, mocking laugh. And as each of you look around, you realize that the sound is coming out of Andre, though probably not willingly. Oh. Ah, you found the great treasure, have you? A rare and mythical thing. Something one of a kind. That's the definition of treasure, isn't it? Wasn't meant for you. There's a reason why nothing on this world understands it. Wasn't anyone on this world who put it there. No. Something far greater than any of us can comprehend placed it here. Locked it away. Sealed it away. It's fortunate, really. I was really enjoying you guys. I really did like you. Especially you, Andre. And the voice is gone. The creature begins to ascend from the water, and you get the idea that you're only seeing 1/10 of the creature's full size and shape. What is before you is terrible to behold. It's just sort of an amorphous blob. Eyes in every direction and teeth in every direction. There's not even really a mouth to speak of. There's just teeth pointing out of mounds of flesh. And 2 tentacles. And as the tentacles ascend from the water again, you realize they too are covered in eyes. And as they hit the water again, the water around the Selene begins to violently ripple and spin, like someone's just put the ocean into the dryer or to the washing machine. And giant whirlpools, 3 of them in fact, sort of forming a sort of triangular shape, form around the outer edge around this creature. 1 whirlpool to your left, 1 to your right, and 1 straight in front of you. The whirlpools are massive, easily able to consume 10 Selenes. And they open up, sort of forcing you into a small area of still safe ocean. Although safe is a relative term when there's a giant creature before you. We enter initiative. I'll start with Hale.
Fine, there's no reason to think that it's not friendly.
What am I supposed to do? Throw my sword at it?
I mean, it was hungry. I get that. The circle of life and all of that.
Hey, we gave it some rock candy.
But now it's full. It ate a big turtle.
Mm-hmm.
After I eat a large meal, I'm not really interested in. I'm feeling very, copacetic, very, well.
The Kraken.
Okay, well,
the thing is, the Kraken's never seen a gun
inclined
before,
towards the world.
So
also the other problem is what if the Kraken has a dessert stomach?
Mm.
Oh no! It just opens up its tentacles and starts keep storing.
Mm.
Goes back
We're
to
the dessert
again.
guys.
Mm.
What are we supposed to do? We're not things fighting a planet.
That's a great question. What are you supposed to do? We'll start with Hale.
Christ.
Mm. What do you think about inspiring this group to action? Right, it's probably of a neutral or better disposition now that it's had a meal.
the best, honestly, okay. The thing I'm thinking
honestly
is we fantastic voyage it. We go in and take it out from the inside.
Star Trek already tried that. We can't copy it.
Spend a hero point to inspire a group action. The group must be able to hear you, but if you can and they are neutral and better disposition, they will whatever, so as long as it's reasonable. I'm sorry, that's a very good idea, but I do not think this Kraken is in any mood to hear what you have to say.
It just enjoyed a wonderful meal of giant turtle.
A big meal.
There's
I'm
one
pretty
more...
well inclined towards the world,
Actually,
and I've had a nice meal.
Considering
There's
that
one
might
more
have been a
thing.
snack for it.
There's one more thing I have to mention, Hale.
Okay.
Before you decide what you're going to do. As if there wasn't enough to pay attention to, you, just being so in tune with the heartbeat of the ship, are suddenly aware of an extra weight on either side. And as you tune your hearing, and Andre picks this up too, certainly, and maybe anyone else who would be close to the sides of the ship, like Eagle because he was holding the rope, that kind of thing. You suddenly hear the distinct sound of something sharp clinging onto the sides, and then another and another. It's obvious. Many somethings are climbing up the sides of the Selene.
Antibodies?
Just to make things even more interesting.
The flood.
So.
Kraken folk?
So, anyways, like I said, Hale, it's to you.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah.
Is this when we spend our actions crying?
I mean, you can if you want.
I am crying, but that's not how I spend my action.
Yes.
I know what I'd like to do.
Hale walks to the side of his boat and looks down to see what sharp things are climbing up his ship.
At first glance, it appears to be they resemble the merfolk creatures from earlier. But rather than the sort of dainty females you saw before, they're still females. Like, they still have the stringy long hair. But
That's how you can tell.
Yeah. But now the sort of dainty hands, which maybe you caught a glimpse of in the cave, have given way to sharp claws like a bird or like a harpy or something like that. And their gentle, sort of inquisitive faces have given way to snarls as you can see glimpses of fangs. As the creatures continue to shimmy up the boat, there's got to be at least 10 climbing up this side, and you imagine about the same on the other side.
Where is the Kraken oriented relative to us? So we've got these 2 tentacles on either side, and you got some piece of its body.
Yeah. So great question. Awesome question. Imagine the whole battlefield in the shape of a triangle. Significant shapes.
Indeed.
Your sort of lower center, the Kraken's body is dead center, such that its head, we'll call it, is between you and the whirlpool on the other side of it. It's got one giant massive tentacle to your left, and behind that is a giant whirlpool, like I was describing the whirlpools, and to your right much the same, a giant tentacle to your right and a big whirlpool behind that.
All right.
So.
Dale pauses for a long moment, looking down at the merfolk starting to climb his ship, looking across at the tentacles, looking towards the head, the barely revealed head of the Kraken. What are you all standing around for? All of ye, get ready. Man the guns. We're going to give this tentacle a broadside like it's never experienced before, and then we're going in. And Hale commands a broadside of the tentacle to the right, and then that's the man at the tiller swing for the whirlpool.
Okay. So.
But with the intent that actually we're going to use the whirlpool's speed as we go around the outer edge to swing with it and around it towards the whirlpool behind the Kraken.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know that I necessarily need you to make a roll then. Unless there's something that you think you might want to roll for.
Yeah, I mean, now that I've given the orders, I shoot one of the stupid things climbing my ship.
Okay. Then I'll want a finesse plus aim from you. Okay, Reinhardt, you're to declare.
Holy shit. I'm going to leave Discord and leave it up to you guys.
I'm out. For scaring. It's the best.
Shit, I'm out.
Yep.
Shit, I'm out. Holy shit. Okay. Right. Knew following that thing was a bad idea. All right, everybody, you heard the captain. Man the guns. Watch for intruders. Anything that steps aboard this boat is dead meat. And I basically want to prep for anything that comes aboard the ship.
Okay, gotcha.
If we're not needing to do rolls to command people to shoot, then I am going to do what I do best and prepare to make some sushi out of some fish.
Gotcha. Fry?
Grab me the rice.
Actually, no, I'm going to have Jormungson declare next. That's the order we've been going in. So, Jormungson?
Actually, I did have a clerical question. As the doctor, do I still hold a rank higher than, the regular crew? Like, I can give them orders if I have to? I
don't know how strictly Hale applies rank, other than he's the captain and Reinhardt's the first mate. I think all of the officers are probably treated equal after that.
Yeah,
but there are rank and file that would listen to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like unless we're in a pressing situation, they're going to be listening to the captain or Reinhardt.
Yeah.
For the most part,
they'll take direction from Fry as long as it doesn't contradict what they've been told.
Yeah.
That said, Jormungson is going to head to the nearest side of the boat where he hears spiky things gripping the side,
Yeah.
He's going to grab his hammer by the very end, and he's going to start swinging down and trying to knock people off the sides.
Okay. I would like a. Which one is the melee weapon one? Is that weaponry?
Weaponry.
Brawn and weaponry, yes.
Yeah. So I would like a brawn and weaponry. I'm sorry, Kirk. I didn't say this, but I want a finesse and weaponry from you.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Fry.
I had a question. Where, like, they're climbing up across, like, the side of the whole ship, or are they coming up? Okay.
Yeah, they're coming up either side.
Are there any climbing up under where we would have our away boats, or dinghies, our little rowboats? I want to drop a rowboat on a couple of them heading up that side.
Okay,
maybe not make it fall all the way, but I would like to make it hit them and then recover it for a second one if I have to. Kind of idea.
Row your boat. Watch out for your head.
Okay, I'm going to ask for finesse plus sailing.
I will also ask, where exactly is the captain at this moment?
Hale is at one side of the ship.
One side of the ship.
Near
shooting the guys.
Near the guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very specifically going to go to the side of the ship that Hale is on.
Okay.
Because in case he's going to take like a huge amount of damage, I want to take it for myself.
Yeah,
so I want to be on the same side as Hale.
And I would be on the opposite side.
And Reinhardt would be on the opposite side. Gotcha. Thank you very much.
I guess I would be on the opposite side with the boat.
And then there would be some men on either side as well.
So, Fry, which side are you on then? The side with Reinhardt or the side with Hale? And
opposite the captain.
Opposite the captain. So you're on the same side as Reinhardt. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. And Serrano. Oh, yeah. So finesse plus sailing from you, Fry.
Got it.
And the Serrano.
I have it prepped.
Yeah.
I want to assist someone. I think. I'll help Fry.
Okay. Great. You don't. Well, I gave you the same option that I gave earlier. You can just spend a hero point and give Fry 3 extra dice, or you can make the same roll with him.
I'm going to use the hero point.
Okay, so then no roll from you needed this round.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right, then everyone can make their rolls, and Fry, don't forget to take 3 extra dice from Serrano's assist.
We'll do that. I don't want him to help me though, so I'm going to yell at him because that's the only way that I can get a hero points back for myself.
Okay.
As we have seen, I receive a hero point when if a hero refuses an offer of aid. So I'm going to refuse. That doesn't mean that he has to stop, but I'm going to refuse.
No, as we established last time, Andre, you can still help him. The help doesn't have to actually be refused for him to get the hero point. So, up to you.
So he's going to tell me that he's going to come over to my side, I guess, and I'm going to yell at him to go somewhere else.
Yeah, so do you bail on helping him, or do you still assist him anyways?
I'll still help.
Okay. Well, then you still get the 3 extra dice, Fry.
Well, I did it.
Remind me about re-rolling. We haven't done much of that.
Just re-roll however many dice.
All right, well, I'm going to re-roll 1 die out of that result then.
Wait, you can just re-roll?
If you have enough ranks in something.
Yeah,
I'm sure he can.
Yeah.
Actually, I should check my rules on that as well, because I might be able to re-roll something.
If you have at least 3 ranks, if you have at least 3 ranks in a skill, you can re-roll 1 die 10. And if you have 5 ranks in a skill, any 10s you get are then re-rolled and added again to the.
I didn't know it was at 3. I could have been doing a couple of.
Are they separate from each other, or can you do both?
You can do both. So if you have 5 in a skill, then it always explodes 10s.
Yes.
And if you have 3 in a skill, then you can re-roll 1 die.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
will be re-rolling the 1 then.
You have 5 in weaponry?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a 10, so you can actually roll another die and add it to your 53.
Oh, you didn't. You didn't hit the exploding toggle.
No, I didn't think that was the case.
I will be re-rolling my 1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's on your sheet, there's a little...
Yeah, no, I see it now. I just didn't realize what the exploding was.
Unfortunately, you have to do it manually.
Yeah.
Does the re-roll button re-roll everything or just 1?
Just one. That's what I clicked to get that 1 die 10.
Very good.
I think they built that in. Like I said, it's a clever system.
Yeah, so my result's actually a 71 then.
71.
And mine is
Or
68, so no change for me.
Right.
I don't get to reroll mine because I have 3 in a trait and not the skill.
Okay, so I'm going to reroll a 2, and then I'm going to reroll that 10 for an extra one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I get sets per 50. Two raises per 15.
That was 51 plus 19, so I'm at 70.
Right, gotcha. Okay, yeah.
All
So
right.
everyone reiterate the number.
Yep.
So Fry has a 38. Reinhardt now has a 70. Okay.
I have a 70, yeah.
Hale has a 71. Okay. And Jormungson, you would have a 68, you said? Okay.
67, actually.
67.
I forgot to subtract the original one
What
that
did
I
you say
rolled.
about
Yep, so did I, but it's
15s
still
and 2
70.
raises?
Yeah.
Thomas?
Oh, that's a talent he has, right?
No, that is at rank 4. You gain the ability to earn 2 raises per set by creating sets of 15 rather than only 1 raise per set for creating a set of 10. Although I think in this case, I don't know where, like, I'm trying to think mathematically where that is an advantage. You'd have to be rolling like wicked high.
The only advantage to that is if you get a 65 or something.
Well, no,
I got a 65.
If it's in sets of 15,
75.
it would be 30, 60, 30, 60, 90.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So yeah, 15 is 2, 30 is 4.
Yeah.
45 is
60,
6.
90.
Yeah.
60 is 8.
8.
So I actually have 8.
Yeah. So.
8
Is this
successes.
something I have to get, or is this native? I have
No.
not even thought
This
about
is
it.
okay.
It's native if
Do
you
you
have 4
have-
dots.
It's just, unfortunately, it doesn't do it for you.
Richard, go to Files and open the 7th C rulebook, and then go to page 148. 148 in the PDF, 146.
So remember that you can't count
Page
the
number.
first 10 for your base success, though. You have to make sets after that.
I mean, it doesn't matter for my roll anyway.
Oh,
I just
that's
wasn't
after
sure
that.
about this.
Yeah, because the first 10 is always eaten by success.
Because it's for raises, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then in my case, I rolled a 70, so the first 10
Yeah,
is
but
that.
it
And
has
then
to be
if
of dice, right? You have to make sets of the dice, not of the total.
Not of the total. It's very complicated. I would kind of, I know Thomas is very accurate to the rulebook. I would kind of like to just avoid that rule because it's the finale and
Yeah.
Okay,
that's fine.
This is a
ignoring it.
brand new thing.
I'm completely ignoring it.
yeah. So let's
As far as I'm concerned, this doesn't exist.
yeah, the rerolls and
Last
explosion
minute
great.
mechanics is always
Let's-
the problem.
Let's forget that. Yeah, let's just scrap
All right.
that. If this was a longer campaign, great, but let's scrap that.
All right,
we'll just
let's
stick to what
forget
we're
that
doing.
happened. All right,
So-
cool.
So Hale, you have 71. Reinhardt has 70. Jormungson has 67, and Fry has 38. So, okay. So we'll start with you, Hale. 1 to succeed. That means you have 6 left over. So as always, when it comes to sort of fighting mooks, it's the same sort of good news, bad news kind of thing.
I'm going to kill as many mooks as possible.
Okay,
and
not save any to defend?
Let them do what they can. I mean,
All right.
they're all down there, and I'm up here, so...
Gotcha. All right. Great. So then, you managed to line up a shot, and 6 fools who attempted to board the Selene fall back into the water with a couple extra holes in them.
What about the first success?
Well, the first
That was
success
6 raises.
You got
First
like
success
7.
succeeds, and then 6 are
And you have
kills.
6, so you got 6 kills.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
If you don't
You pump-
succeed the first one, it's just a critical fail.
So then you pump.
As it were.
And then you said you wanted to pump it all into damage, so I've given you 6 kills. Yeah.
So what if I'd gotten an 11? So you succeed, but you don't kill anybody?
If you would have succeeded, but you would have had no raises to... Like, you would have gotten one singular guy.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying, though.
So-
And so if the initial success counts as a dude, and the raises count as additional dudes, shouldn't that be 7 rather than 6 dudes?
Fine.
Not that
You got
it
seven.
likely matters.
All right. Fine, you got 7 dudes.
A 7
Ooh,
dudes.
I hate how easily he acquiesced to that. We're fun.
Yeah, it's like, fine, you got 7 dudes. There's an infinite number of dudes.
Yeah. So, yeah. I saw things happen.
This is like Reinhardt pushing Grim. I needed to find out whether there was, in fact, an infinite number of dudes.
I want to see the end of this campaign by 2 a.m.
Hey, Jeff.
boys.
Oh, Jeff. Baby boy.
This is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
On camera. We got our cat. We're way more popular.
He's like, please leave me. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, Reinhardt, you also have 7 raises, so same deal. As the crazed merfolk get on the ship, you make sure that they leave the ship with some extra holes in them. So,
In return for what? What's the downside of doing all damage?
If you do all damage, then you will take damage from the rest.
Do I know how much?
No, because you don't know how many more there are climbing the side. So you can definitely kill 7, or you can hold on to a few to defend yourself.
I'm gonna. I think 5's a nice number, so we're gonna do 5.
Okay.
And then I'll hold on to 2.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Then you put a couple of extra. You make 5 of them into Swiss cheese, and they plummet back into the water lifeless as more continue to climb the side.
Great lunch, lads.
Yormitson, exactly the same offer to you.
6.
You have 6, so you can pump them all into damage, or you can hold on to a few for defense.
All damage. Shock and awe, baby.
All right. Then at the moment, everything's still actively climbing the side. Your side with hail that you're on with hail are swept clear.
Bye-bye.
Well,
and then Fry, you had 3. So same deal. You can pump them all into killing some dudes, or you can hold on to a couple to defend yourself.
I don't know.
What is dinghy damage necessarily?
Yeah, I don't know what damage happens with a dinghy. I'm gonna have to if I want to hit anybody, I'm probably gonna have to go whole hog on it.
Going whole hog, as you said.
I think I have to.
You with Serrano's assistance let the ropes go on the dinghy, and the boat hits the skulls of 3 of the merfolk climbing. You can hear a crunch as their skulls go in a little bit from the weight of the boat, and they fall back into the water. 2 make it up on 2 leap with supernatural speed up onto the deck, and because you didn't bank any raises for defense, they go for you, Fry. I would like you to take 2 dramatic wounds, please.
2?
Yeah, so you need to take enough wounds that you gain 2 additional dramatic wounds.
Jesus Christmas.
Ouch.
Yeah, those 2 are related, yeah. What about me?
I assume I'm too far away to absorb some of that.
You're on the other side of the boat, yeah. That's why I asked.
That's what I figured, but just checking.
No, hold on, Nathaniel, this is important. How did they attack me?
They clawed you.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Super interested to know what Richard has that resists a certain type of damage.
You will literally see potentially at some point if I can.
You go into a rage?
The merfolk don't get another chance to strike because other members of this Selene crew managed to run them through before they're able to move again.
Yeah, Goon Squad get them.
Yeah, that was the Goon Squad getting them. So, meanwhile, as Hale has ordered a broadside of the tentacle, you see cannonballs letting loose. And they hit the tentacle on the one side, and the tentacle reels for a second and sort of retreats into the water. And you can see that the tentacles like quivering a little bit, like a kid holding back his hand after touching a hot surface. And the eyes sort of shut close as a reflex, and you hear a terrible screech sound. The Selene does have a straight line towards that whirlpool. We're at the top of round 2. Hale?
Well, is the crewman at the tiller obeying my orders and swinging us around that whirlpool?
Yep, you're swinging around the whirlpool. I would like somebody I would like some officer of the Selene to represent the role of the navigation.
Very well.
That
Then
would
as
probably
Sorry, go
be me. I was just going to say probably be me, unless.
I think in this
all the
particular
spyglass
case,
stuff, does it-
Hale is going to take the helm himself. This is his ship, and he wants to see it through.
Well, that is potentially true. But there is a second question of whether it is a role of navigation or a role of keeping the rigging set, as it were. Because if it were keeping the rigging set, that's probably me.
Right.
How is the ship looking in terms of how it's handling the whirlpool?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the Selene enters the edge of the whirlpool and immediately it's caught up in the raging spiral. It takes a lot to keep it from just being sucked into the center. So it is a question of navigation, but having someone else keep the rigging steady would certainly not be unwelcome.
All right, well, we've swept this side clean.
Mm-hmm.
So Hale stomps up to the tiller, gently pushes the man aside. I got it from here, thank ye. Mr. Jormundson, take the ropes. We're going around.
Aye.
Okay. So then, Hale, I will have
Remembering
you
that the plan
do-
here is to try and use the sort of centrifugal force here to throw us clear of this whirlpool and into the one
behind the Kraken's head, yes. Panache or resolve plus sailing for you, Hale.
Very well.
Yep. And I know we're going slightly out of order, but because your role is kind of linked with Hale's, Thomas, I'll
Bronze sailing?
Bronze sailing, exactly.
Good. Large and sea legs both take effect, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Sea legs for sure, but large, yeah.
And
them
Hale is-
large sea legs.
And Chris, if you have sea legs, also that would take effect as well. So, okay. And in addition, the whirlpool is not persuading the seemingly crazed merfolk from the sides of the ship, and more clawed hands begin to come up. Less than the first time. I would say there's about 5 to a side at this point. Obviously, Fry, Serrano, and Reinhardt are all on the same side, so you can just see the 5 that are starting to ascend the side of your ship. Who knows on the other side, but you might assume the same. So Hale and Jormundson have declared. Reinhardt.
With those two busy, I go to the other side and get some sashimi.
Okay.
Prep for lunch.
So you switch sides to the side that Jormundson and Hale were on. Okay, gotcha.
Sushi
Okay.
shish kebab.
Fry?
That's really cool. I'm really hurt.
Yes.
Great that you left immediately.
You still have Serrano with you.
I do what I do best.
I do. You're right.
His job is not to keep you alive, specifically.
Yeah.
Maybe you should head up and use those eagle eyes to spot for others.
That might be an idea.
You should call Lawrence to patch you up.
I'll watch the side of you head
more
up.
wounds.
I don't look. I'll say it this way. I don't know how much longer I will have to be able to go and look at things. So fuck. What do I want to do? There's 5 guys?
Yeah.
Burgers and fries.
I was about to say it too.
You got a wolfy guy there.
Oh, by the way, on that topic, Andre, are you shifted or are you still in your human form at this moment?
I am about to shift.
Okay.
I can shift right now.
Yeah. So, well, that's fine. You can shift and still do something as well. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw my one loaded pistol and aim and ready in action to aim at the group that's coming up. I will have a witty line in case somebody says something to me about this.
Okay.
Good thing they're all going up in one line.
Okay, finesse a name from you. Then.
Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Before we continue, is it possible for me to take the rigging close enough to Mr. Fry that I could take damage for him potentially?
Yes.
Okay. I will take the rigging as close as possible to Fry.
Okay.
Now, Nathaniel, can I stack Deadeye with Eagle Eyes?
You can spy glass, such as blah, blah, blah. If you make a risk that relies heavily on your keen vision, you gain 1 bonus die.
Yeah, I don't see any reason those don't stack.
Yeah, go ahead. You can stack them.
Okay.
Your eyes zoom.
Yeah.
They go zoom.
Yeah, and keep in mind the penalty for having. Don't roll yet.
That's not what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Keep in mind the penalty for having 3 dramatic wounds as well.
I don't know what the penalty is.
I will tell you right now.
It is a nemesis gets 2 additional die when targeting you.
I think that nemesis has to be like a large, major villain.
Yes.
I'm assuming.
So I don't know that side goons count, but that's to your discretion, DM.
Hey, look, we'll see. This roll will happen, and we don't know what's going to go on. So.
Yep, absolutely.
To interject here for a second, that would be the second dramatic, and then the third dramatic would be another bonus, right?
Oh, that's true. Yes. You're right. What's the bonus? That's 3.
It goes bonus, negative, and then bonus. The second bonus for wounds is that everything explodes on every roll.
That's right. Yes, you're right.
I just
3 dramatic wounds. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
3 dramatic wounds, every roll will explode.
Right.
Yeah, which means 10s get rerolled. So make sure when you do your roll, turn exploding on. Yeah. Serrano?
I'm sticking to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And continuing what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna keep the baddies away. All right. And you've shifted at this point?
I've shifted at this point.
Okay.
I'm a big boy.
All right, you're a big boy. Woo! Very cool.
I'm a big boy now.
So Serrano, I want from you brawn plus brawl, please.
Yes, sir.
I would love to see how badly I die right now. Let's go.
All right, everyone can go ahead and roll, please.
Alrighty.
35, 63.
35 is it?
I am going to re-roll my 3.
Mm-hmm. 38.
It makes no difference.
You rolled a 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, 69. Yeah.
90.
54.
Not 69, 68. Always you have to subtract. It's not even 68. 66.
66, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
But worth a shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And that.
70.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, and that should be exploding.
Mm-hmm.
It is exploding.
Yeah, I'm going to use exploding toggle on.
I'm going to re-roll that 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the
roll the explosions.
Here's the explosion.
You already rolled.
No.
The
Stop.
exploding toggle on.
It already counted the explosion. That's why this.
See how there's exclamation points in that command? That means they're exploding already.
Yeah.
It's already rolled extra dice for your explosion, so that 4 is just your reroll.
11. Oh, okay, then it doesn't matter. So 70.
Okay.
Yeah, the notation for explosions is exclamation points.
Okay,
If you see those in your roll, it's already on.
Because it's also referred to as a bang, see?
Yes, haha. Okay, so 70 for Reinhardt. 66 for Roman.
Yeah, mine didn't change, so it's still just 6.
Hale's 38. Fry's 30. No, sorry. So then Andre will be next with 54. Then Hale, then Fry. Okay. So yeah. 7. Okay. So 1 to succeed. Exactly the same offer. There are 5 Murdudes coming up the left-hand side, we'll say. The side that Jormungandr and Hale were on and now are occupied. You could slice them all up. But
I kill all 5 and I kill all 5 and I soak the 2.
Yeah, you still have 2 left over to soak any damage that might come. So very good. Jormungandr, you had 6, so you're holding the rigging. Yes, right. Okay. So let's see. So you would have 5 raises after the initial success. If you spend all 5, then you hold the rigging firm. The action succeeds perfectly, but you will take a dramatic wound.
Sold. Done.
Okay. Serrano, you have 5, so 1 is succeeding. Yeah, so you can take a swipe at all the fools climbing up the right-hand side, but you'll leave yourself exposed to any damage that might happen.
I do it.
I'm trying to shoot some guys too. Does that help?
No.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
They resolve after we do.
Yeah.
You could change your action, Richard.
Yeah. Serrano is going to clear all the merfolk climbing up, so you could improvise at this point if you'd like.
Do I take a dramatic wound for that?
No, you don't. You got everyone.
Well, you might. Just left yourself exposed to any potential danger. We don't know yet.
Then I'll hold the pistol and watch just to see.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, and then Hale, you had 3. Okay. So you have 2 left over. You're gonna have to either use both of those to sort of back off the wheel and catch your breath. This is very physically demanding. Use the 2 raises. I'll let you succeed, but you're gonna have to take a full dramatic wound.
Done.
Okay.
We are doing this.
Right.
It is not hard to sell us on that.
Yeah. All right. Then the ship careens towards the whirlpool behind the Kraken's head, with the injured tentacle slowly coming back out of the water as it recoils from the damage. The eyes pop back open, and the tentacle goes to slam down on the boat, but misses the boat as it speeds past where the tentacle was and hits the water behind, sending a giant tidal wave over the top of the ship. So Jormundson and Hale, you have already taken the damage that would apply to. Serrano, you've left yourself exposed. The water totally swamps you, and it brings a whole bunch of extra stuff with it. Rocks and shells and dead bodies and all of that, and it sends you flying into a hard wooden mast. So I'd like you to take a dramatic wound, please. Reinhardt, because you saved 2 saves, you have the wherewithal to quickly sort of duck, sort of back under the deck hatch and avoid the wave that sweeps over the top of the ship. So you are okay, and you manage to emerge after the water passes. Fry, because you kind of held on to your action, the same thing, you have enough raises left over that you can avoid the sweep of the tidal wave.
I would like to not take more damage, please.
Yes.
What, you're not willing to take a dramatic wound?
So not right now! You duck behind a door, or into a barrel, or down the hatch, or somewhere that you manage to avoid the sweeping of the water.
Yeah. Stand firm, small man.
Just a dude behind me.
I need to make sure that you're alive.
The creature gives out another terrible screech, and it seems like the whole sky fills with it this time, and thunder cracks on the edges of the storm as if responding to the creature's cries. Wait a minute. That wasn't thunder cracking. That was another creature responding in kind.
Cool turtle, coming to help us.
Volcano Man?
You don't have time to think about that right now, because the Selene continues to careen using the momentum gained by the whirlpool into the central whirlpool. And the Selene enters the whirlpool and is swept up quickly into the swirling tide. All of you are suddenly swept with a sensation. All of you felt earlier the sensation of water and waves and the sound from conch shells and all of that. But this time you're hit with a different sound. Instead of the sound of splashing waves, it's the sound of nothing, of emptiness, like traveling through a dark void, the pitch blackness of empty space between spaces. And instead of an image of the waves flashing before your eyes, there's a star field, like you were lying on the deck gazing up at the stars. No moon, no sun, just a blanket of stars. Fill your eyes for a moment, and the image fades. And for you, Andre, there's another sensation. It's the same sort of sensation that alerts dogs to when their owners have pulled into the driveway. a sense of familiarity. Like wherever this whirlpool is pulling down, gripping the Selene towards its center, is not the bottom of the sea, but somewhere more familiar. And like I said, for Serrano, there's a sense of almost, maybe not calm or peace or happiness or anything, Serrano, but just a sense of this feels very familiar. For the rest of you, you're just hit with a sense of confusion, of unknown. What are you seeing? Why were you seeing the star field all of a sudden? What's happening? Where is this whirlpool going? All of you get a sensation that this whirlpool leads somewhere. If only you make it to the center. Hale?
Hale grips the wheel between his hands, his eyes fixed on the vanishing horizon. Stand fast, lads. Remember, no need to fear change. We'll find our fortune at the end of it. And I steer us into whatever's going on here. In and down.
All right.
Or in and up.
All right. Each of you, interns, with Reinhardt, have just mere moments, so enough time to say something. You can either just shout it out so everyone can hear it, or you can choose somebody to say it to. So I'll start with you, Reinhardt. And you can also choose to just stay silent and kind of try to absorb what's happening. That's also a valid option.
Yeah, I'm very confused. What?
So.
Okay, so painting the picture, we're going down into the whirlpool, and you're saying that we have like a moment or two to say something as we're going into it?
Because we've just all had this sudden sensation sweep over us of seeing a star field and the sense of transit, of movement.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hope to God you're right about this.
I doubt God's got anything to do with it. But maybe he does.
And then I tried to start making my way over to the wheel to try and help the captain.
Okay.
If I make it there or not, that's to be determined.
Jormanson?
Maybe he does.
I thought my greatest battle was against the waves. But I'm interested to see what happens. Who I'm allied against when I side with them. And Banded Muscle pulls and threatens to snap as Eagle rips the rigging down to pull them deeper into the whirlpool.
Nice. Very cool. Serrano? Fry first, and I'll have you go. More dramatic that way. Fry?
Jackdaw Fry, like we imagined, to escape the torrent, the giant wave that came down crashing above us, slipped into a hatch under the deck and is taking this opportunity to lick his wounds a little bit. And he only says aloud,
"Well, I can't fix me like this. Lawrence is going to have a hell of a job to do when we get to the other side."
Cool. He bandages himself up a little bit, tries to stop any bleeding.
Serrano?
You gain wounds, sorry.
Yeah.
Yay!
Andre runs to the steps up to where the wheel of the ship is and shouts up at those that are up there. "This place, I think I know it. I think we're going somewhere good."
Nice. As you approach the center, there's a splash, a crash, and the next few moments just sort of discombobulate. There's just moments of the smell of the salt and the terrible screech of the kraken, now joined by several more krakens that you have seen break across the horizon. there's at least 3 or 4 around. That was what I was mentioning earlier with the response and sound not being thunder. And there's just moments of noise and visions. But Hale and Serrano, you have an extra physical sensation. There's a burning across your chest. And when you look down again at the spot that Grim had laid his terrible runes, they're gone. And the spot at the area of the chest has been healed fully, as if they were never there. And then, there's nothing. Somewhere far, far away, back in the Kingdom of Avalon, Duke Grim of the Winter Court sits on a balcony. From his castle that he has now newly acquired from the king, he stares out at the sea. With his supernatural, fairy-like hearing, he can hear the screeches of these unnatural creatures filling the air, and it's music to him. A she-servant, a man at the moment posing as a dignified butler, enters the room. Lord Grim, would you be wanting your morning food, sir? Oh, yes. I know I don't need to eat, but I find the delicacies here quite enjoyable. It's unfortunate, sir, that you were not able to destroy the Selene and its crew. It seems that they have gotten away. A shame. Destroy the Selene? Why do I want to destroy the Selene? It did exactly what I wanted it to. Was the objective not to have it destroyed by the Kraken? The Kraken's incidental. No, my good servant. It was the whirlpool. You see, they found an exit. But it's a door. And doors, well, they swing both ways, don't they? Something has to leave for something else to enter. And as Grim says that, he looks up at the sky with the biggest, most pleased smile Duke Grim has ever had in his life. Something starts to emerge from the sky. The various she-servants around Grim all fall to the ground, cowering in fear. Terrified, they cry out, unclear of what the thing is that's descending towards them. The servant in the butler uniform drops his tray and falls to the ground trembling. What is that thing? Oh my God. No, not your God. Mine. And with that, Tossed Ashore has come to an end. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We didn't die. We just got launched into space.
Well. Yeah.
Nice. Very nice.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. We have one more presentation for you tonight, and that is our special epilogue to capstone this fantastic campaign. And that, of course, has been graciously voiced by our very own Thomas Hyde, playing the role of Duke Grim. I would also like to thank Christopher Kiefer for writing and producing this epilogue. So,
thank you for allowing me to be part of it.
Without further ado, here's our epilogue to Tossed Ashore, entitled A Grim Perspective.
Humans are a funny lot. They talk a great deal about right and wrong, good and evil, but ask any two of them, and you're like to get different answers on which is which. It's not like that in the reflection. There's only one rule which binds all actions, that of debt and obligation, and every Fae knows it in their bones. When you make a promise or strike a bargain, you must keep it. And if ye incur a debt to someone, you must pay it back. It's not a choice, it's our nature. When it came to Earth, it was a bit of a culture shock, learning that people will say one thing and do another, make a bargain and then go back on it. Even years into my efforts to make a lasting alliance between the Reflection and Earth, time and again, the humans' duplicity got in the way of both our best interests. It was tempting to look down on all the politicians and businessmen that I met for being so corrupt, but I didn't hold it against them. That's just their nature, and we can none of us fight our nature. Then, in the 5th year of my work on Earth, I incurred a serious debt. Some of the Winter Court opposed our efforts to forge an alliance with the Earth, and thought the best way to undermine the peace talks was to undermine their chief negotiator, namely me. With the help of a traitor, they abducted me ma, the Duchess of Summer, and had her killed. Oh, a powerful debt I incurred that day. I desperately owed that traitor and the whole Winter Court agony, rivers of blood, the full weight of me revenge. Now, patience was never my strongest suit, but I had to cultivate it. I didn't have the resources. They'd put a puppet in Summer in me ma's place, so I was cut off from my own people, and I couldn't oppose the Winter Court alone. But here were these corrupt businessmen and politicians, who I'd been making inroads with for years. I understood how they fought now, none the better. They didn't care much for peace, but the conquest of a new realm. Aye, that had lined their pockets well. It took me 100 years in all, a drop in the bucket really, but with me revenge burning in me heart the whole time, it felt like an eternity. When the cruise missiles ripped the doors off Deluge's palace, and I ripped Schline's heart out with my own hands, it was like ice water on a bonfire. It gave off a lot of smoke, but didn't do naught to quench the flames. So I killed Deluge as well. A few hundred machine guns firing steel aren't as effective as iron would be, but they get the job done. And wouldn't you know, once I'd killed Deluge, that made me the Duke. Conquest is acquisition and the Reflection, after all. And to be honest, this had been part of the plan. Those greedy humans hadn't read or understood the fine print, and becoming Duke nullified me obligations to him, while still leaving me new subjects in possession of an awful lot of human firepower. I showed the humans, too, for trying to use me to conquer my own homeland. Paid that lot back, ye can be sure. And now, well, when I'd run out of things to conquer, life became rather drab and dull, don't you know? It's the nature of winter to quest and to conquer, to kill and eat, and none of us can fight our nature. Oblivion showing up one day was the best thing to ever happen to me and my people. He opened endless worlds to us, full of interesting people to meet and to conquer, and, if we've naught else better to do, to consume. I owe him for that. And I always pay my debts.
Nice. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for playing. I hope that you have enjoyed Wrong Side of the Wall Season 1 Tossed Ashore. And with that, we bring the adventures of the crew of the Selene and Andre Serrano, maybe not to an end, but to a stop. What has become of the crew as they entered this whirlpool? Time will tell.
Like stop. How about pause?
I feel like we've become the battleship Yamato, where we're now just a battleship in space.
Nice.
Flying around.
Yes.
Somehow.
Nice. Huh. So,
Nathaniel, excellent for a season.
Thank you.
You've got me wanting more.
Thank you so much.
I hope that this doesn't get cancelled.
Now, it's funny that
Fox, please.
Now, it's funny that Chris mentions war, because I don't want to take anything away from Toss Ashore. I want everyone to be able to go away and think back on the campaign, but I do want to leave just a little tidbit of what's to come in the next little bit. So, in 2 weeks, that brings us to the beginning of October, we will be launching into Season 2 of Wrong Side of the Wall, and Season 2 is entitled A Walk Through the Wastes. And I am very pleased and excited to announce that for Season 2, we will be heading to the post-apocalyptic setting of Fallout.
Yeah!
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes! Special!
Do we all get power armor?
So one person does. I'm very excited to bring us here. Let's talk a little tiny. There's lots more details that will come in the next couple of days, but I'll just talk a little bit about that. The system we're going to be using is actually the Fallout RPG, which was published by Modifius.
Very cool.
So one cool thing about that is that because it's Modifius, the same company that does Star Trek Adventures, although there's lots of Fallout flavor to be learned, the actual core die mechanic is identical to Star Trek.
That system rocks.
So we'll have that leg up at least. We won't be coming into a brand new, which is, I think, really exciting.
A lot more fighting in this system, I'm sure.
Yes, and actual levels of XP and all of that.
I can't get excited. If somebody has power armor, that means stuff.
Calm down, it's not you.
Richard?
Probably, maybe.
I am excited to announce that you will be our team captain for season 2.
He does have power armor.
So,
it is him.
And you will be leading a cast of brand new characters, which will include yourself and characters made by Christian, Kirk, and Chris. And Thomas, I am pleased to announce that you will be reprising your role as John Smith.
Much earlier than I expected.
Oh.
Very good.
So I was kind of half expecting you to be like, and Kirk will be playing Rick, and I'm like, well, there's the power armor, guys. I'm the armor.
Yeah.
You're the power armor.
I truly expected John Smith to be second last just because of his position as team leader. So way to throw a curveball, brother.
There we go. It'll make lots of sense when we see it. Our first episode of Walk Through the Waste will be called The Man Who Couldn't Miss.
Nice.
I got VATS. I'm the only one who got VATS.
Nice.
Ooh. Go for the eyes.
What, 100%
Remember, that's
on all spots?
Yeah, that is the big weak point you should go for, the eyes on every enemy.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be really cool. Like I said, I promised every season is going to be very, very different setting-wise. This one's going to have a very heavy sort of western-y leaning, which I think will be really cool. So,
Do we have to be angry and decrepit all the time?
Richard's mind.
So,
You put it in. Okay.
Can we walk around and talk like we're constantly holding a cigar in our mouth?
So, absolutely, if you would like.
That's required.
But you might get tired of that.
I'm pretty sure your daddy is required at all times.
I only said 2 words near see?
I mean, if the ghoul character wants to be a chain smoker, that might be fun. So.
Nice. Cool character. I'm excited already.
What's he gonna do? Shrivel up?
Yeah. The party composition, aside from John Smith, will consist of 1 ghoul, 1 ex-Brotherhood of Steel member, a former Vault Dweller, and a Mr. Handy robot.
Mr. Handy robot!
Sorry.
What about a super mutant? Can I be a super mutant?
No, sorry.
Oh, damn it, I want to be the Mr. Handy!
It's alright, he's so handy.
So lots to look forward to. I'll be giving out things for details and blah blah blah,
Nice.
how we're going to pick the archetypes and all of that. But that's what's coming. Season 2, Walk Through the Wastes, is coming next week. We're going to do character creation. Week
Sweet.
after that, we'll be launching into it. So
Cool.
thanks again. I hope that you greatly enjoyed Tossed Ashore.
Loved
And,
this season.
more
I'm
to
looking
come.
forward to the
Yes.
next.
Yes.
Toss Ashore was superb.
Thank you
We'll
so
give
much.
we'll give you claps on the
I
way
loved
out.
these characters. I so loved these characters. So
I gotta say though,
loved it.
I don't think I agree with the title because we never got Tossed Ashore.
Huh.
Well,
Interesting.
we don't know where we're gonna land on the other side of that whirlpool.
From a certain point of view, we did.
So, yes.
I think it was at best Serrano was the one who got tossed ashore, and the rest of us were sailing.
Yes.
Again, you don't know where we're gonna land on the other side of that whirlpool.
Yeah.
It should have been called Tossed a Woof.
Hmm.
I don't get it.
I'm glad. I'm glad I didn't
What
have
is a
Kirk make the
bear?
titles.
The stream should have cut hard when he
is
said
there?
that.
Yeah, I'm turning this stream off. Goodbye, everybody. We're
Oh,
gonna
wow.
talk
Where
spoilers.
did the viewers go?
We'll see you later.
Cheers.
Thank you all.
Yeah.